Hello, Ollie.
Hello, Peter.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, as always.
Brilliant. I've come all the way from sunny Bristol to sunny Brighton.
I know, right? The weather is just fantastic right now. That has to be said.
It is beautiful.
So I guess let's have a bit of a talk about overview, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's have a little introduction, shall we? I don't know. I'm going to look at one of the cameras. I'm going to look at this camera right here. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode. I'm gonna say this is a Beyond the Dance. I think. I mean, I do too many podcasts.
We can call it that.
I can't really keep up with what's going on. But this is a very special 5 years of overview podcast with the man himself, Sub-Antics.
Hello.
For anybody that may or may not be aware, myself and Ollie are the masterminds behind Overview Music.
I love that wording.
I mean, you're more of the mastermind than I am. I just sort of look pretty and do podcasts occasionally. But yeah, so obviously I've been a lot more of the front-facing podcast personality and whatever. But Overview is a two-man operation. And yeah, so me and Ollie, we've been running it for 5 years now.
Yeah, bloody hell.
Bloody hell. And as it is 5 years, I mean, it's this coming week, I thought that it would be a really good opportunity to sit down, talk a bit about the label and discuss the last 5 years, relive some good memories, maybe some not so good memories at time. You know, these things it's very up and down as well. And yeah, just sort of discuss it. We've actually asked a lot of questions from people. I'm going to be straight up that I stole this idea very much from the Amen Brother podcast. So big up to the Amen Brother podcast. Big up to John and all of the crew there.
I love those guys.
As they did a little question and answer thing, and we were due to meet anyway. And obviously, me being the kind of person that I am, I'm like, right, let's get more out of this.
Content.
We need more content. And as it's 5 years, I thought it'd be a really good opportunity just to sit down. And this is technically your first ever podcast.
First ever released podcast, recorded podcast.
So there is a mythical podcast out there that me and Ollie did actually do.
Was that 2020? I feel like it was right the first time lockdown got lifted. And I was like,
it was between the first lockdown.
Get me out of the house. So I came to Horsham.
And well, I think we actually did like a proper music podcast.
Yeah, it was one of the standard overview ones with all the music sort of interjected in between.
It was quite fun.
It was quite fun.
And obviously, Numbnuts over here can't remember what was even wrong with the recording or something like.
I think the music was like playing in the background.
Oh yeah. It didn't. I think it was the mic recorded on the webcam audio
or something like that.
Yeah.
So we were really far away and I think there was music playing. Yeah.
And then we were like, yeah, we're going to sit down and do it again in the morning. And we got way too drunk that evening and
went out for some Thai food, me, you and Emma. I do remember that.
It was lovely. That was lovely. But then we had way too much drink, got in way too late. And that podcast,
I think a lot of Buckfast was involved.
I think it was Buckfast and mixing until quite late. It sounds like that was what was happening around that time. So that mythical podcast never happened. So I thought it was high time because let's be honest, we've been doing this for 5 years.
I know. I can't hide away in Bristol forever.
Exactly. So yeah, as I said, we've got some questions from people. We did ask our group chat as well. So there's some serious questions to answer
and some not so serious.
Some very not so serious podcast questions from the group chat. So I guess do you want to just go into the questions or should we have a talk about the label?
We can do a bit. I mean, yeah. Where do you start with our 5 years? We can talk about recently.
I'm going to say congratulations on 5 years.
Congratulations.
Well done.
well done. Still here.
Yeah, we are still here. I mean, look, I think 5 years is 5 years is a big milestone.
It is. I can't believe how fast it's gone. It's kind of mental.
Would you say that's a big thing that you're kind of feeling about it then?
I think that's just a thing of life at the moment, especially when you're getting older. I probably speak to that.
I think as well, like maybe the fact that we had the pandemic happened.
Yeah, I kind of just felt like I lost 2 years of my life when that happened.
And like trying to think back about those 2 years is just like, it feels like time is just like condensed in a way. Like
100%.
I think where everything was just the same.
It's a bit of a void, like looking back.
It is. It's like, what
even though we were releasing music the whole time, it was just like, that's kind of, just weren't going out, weren't playing it anywhere.
But we made it through.
We did.
We're still here.
We had quite a successful lockdown in terms of like the music we put out.
Probably the most successful.
Yeah.
We had a bit of a streak. So
do you remember, I think it was a month before the lockdown, in that February 2020, us looking at the schedule and like gassing it up so much, like, oh, this is going to be the best year ever, blah, blah, blah. And then,
everything happened.
Everything happened. But we still did release all that music, and I'm glad we did, because I think it put us in a great position.
Yeah,
I think that time.
Yeah, coming out of lockdown. I mean, we don't. I don't know. I'm gonna start getting PTSD now thinking about all
God,
that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was good, and like like you're saying, we were kind of like put in a good position to come out of that. And I would like to think that it's going quite well for 5 years.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going all right.
It exceeded my expectations, being the careful pessimist that I often am, especially when you asked me initially.
I mean, maybe that's kind of like, maybe that's good to talk about, actually, because I feel like yours and mine relationship is very like, you're quite the realist.
Yeah. Which can verge on pessimism sometimes, and I am self-aware enough to recognise that, and I don't think that's a good trait. I think when sometimes I can be a realist, and that can be good. You're very much the optimist, and
I feel like I'm the real like dreamer of like, yeah, let's just like make it happen and find a way to make it happen. But then I think that's what has worked so well with us, is that you do rein that in sometimes, or be a bit more of the stability that
I think we even each other out. You make me come out my comfort zone a lot more, which I probably wouldn't do with another person or by myself, and then I might try reel you in if it goes a bit too far. I mean,
maybe reel you in. I mean, like you say, like have a bit of stability and be a bit of that kind of like, voice of reason as well, which I think, but you're saying there's pros and cons to both approach, but I think that's what does work well with the dynamic.
Yeah, I think if you have two people that are exactly the same trying to run something, then it's either fireworks or nothing gets done.
yeah, exactly. So it's worked, and like look, I think it's well done. This is just gonna be a self-congratulatory.
Just patting ourselves
podcast.
On the back.
Like, bro, you're just so amazing. You're just so great. I'm just so happy.
Look at you glowing.
I mean, I'm like freshly. I mean, there's probably a lot of people watching this right now will be like not even able to recognize me with my freshly.
You are looking great. Like.
Stop it. You're looking great, bro. You're looking. I mean, you're looking a lot. You're getting down the gym these days.
I have put on some weight. Yeah,
in the right way.
Somewhat the right way.
Somewhat.
I hope. You've lost a fair bit. You're looking trim.
Yeah, I did. I've made a bit of a conscious effort to eat a bit better, and all the.
I guess the no drink will be helping.
The no drink and the no. Yeah, that does help. And I think things are going well and things have felt good. I mean, we could talk a little bit about how we first met, maybe. I mean, I think that like that conversation has been had a couple of times, but
yeah, it's probably more in writing or like in maybe interviews we've done, but
I don't. Yeah, because I don't know. I partly wasn't. Obviously, we got the questions to hopefully keep this on track. I wasn't going to sit here and just like start interviewing you like a usual.
No, it's fine.
Thing, but I guess like there might be some people interested to know how we met. So I guess as some people know, I was running another label.
Yeah,
you were running
SoundCloud page. Yeah. So dub plate clips and all of that stuff.
I mean, possibly you were like the premier dub ripper for
I probably was for a period of time. I don't know if that's like a boastful thing to say or something I should be proud of. Got me in a little bit of trouble with certain people, which is all resolved now. I think that came from a bit of a place of ignorance on my part.
Well, you were very young.
I was very young.
You. I mean, how old were you when you started the sub-antics page?
I mean, that page, I've had that page for ages. If you really dig on my SoundCloud, because I came up through dance music in the free party scene. So if you delve deep on my SoundCloud, there's my first mix series, which actually did really well. They've got loads of plays, but it's all like so what would it be like? Sort of Midlands free party style music, which is all like hard trance, or old electro and like speed garage and stuff. It's pretty out there, but...
And you were what, like 17, 18?
I mean, going to those free parties, when I started the page and putting mixes on there, I was like 15, but I think...
15?
Yeah. I think the first mix, I was 15 when I posted it. It's 2013.
How many plays has it got now?
I think that one's on like 30, 40k, which I would take. Yeah, they kind of popped off in the free, but I've always had a knack for finding music. Yeah, like, so I'd hear stuff at parties and I'd manage to like get through rabbit holes online and just find IDs for stuff that had no lyrics and was just a fucking just a bass line,
random noise.
Yeah, so I'd always have quite an extensive music collection, which I don't know, people always want to hear stuff they haven't heard before, which is kind of what I've always tried to do. And then, yeah, from that, I think it was 2017, so I would have been... I think it was a good like 3-4 years later where I noticed I was really into drum and bass and dub plate culture in drum and bass at the time, like paying attention to what's unreleased, what DJs are playing. Because I personally love nothing more than going to a night and hearing a bunch of sick tunes I've never heard before. And especially at that point in my life, I was really into that. And I kind of found these sort of SoundCloud pages, shout out like the Screecher.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And I think there was
Screecher
like
Extra.
Yeah. I think he got too many copy strikes from Badger. And yeah, a couple others, like a Dub Plato. I think he was a Portuguese or Spanish guy. But
there weren't loads.
No. There was more in the sort of jump up space. But I liked both the jump uppy sides and like the minimal and the techie sort of stuff. So I kind of was just like, oh, there's all these tunes that are like in mixes but no one's ripped them, and like
people need to hear them.
Yeah, people need to hear them, and like I want to just be able to go and play them. So I just started uploading one, and I think the first one I did was Whiny Flashlight. So,
oh shit.
Yeah, because Randall was playing it on dub for a while, and that was a big tune at that point. And I thought it was the sickest thing I'd fucking heard at that time. So I think I clipped that and it just blew up straight away, and I was like, oh, okay, I might as well just keep going. This is kind of fun.
Well, I guess you probably get quite a buzz out of getting all of that attention, I guess, as well.
I mean, maybe at that age, that was never really the aim.
What was your aim?
I don't really know. I just kind of looked at the other pages and thought, I'm more on the ball than these guys.
I know what the best music is.
Yeah, definitely had that sort of mindset back then, which is quite funny to look back on. But yeah, that sort of took off. Then I started doing a mix series. Then sort of started interacting with my generation, like my age of producers who are now like killing it in the scene. It's all like
such as
Dan Clinical, Charlie Scantia, Nectax, etc. from that sort of era. And definitely kind of fell into when Foghorns got big, sort of jumped on that train a bit, because I thought that sound was so fresh and sick, but it did get a bit rinsed.
And you did most of the rinsing?
I did a bit of rinsing. Yeah, I played a lot in those mixes. But yeah, no, and then just sort of got chatting, and then was doing the mix series and had more exclusive music to play in the mixes, and sort of like grew the page from there. And then, yeah, it was sort of at that time when I bumped into you at a Spearhead night at Egg London.
Big.
Yes, because to give some context, you were at Lifestyle. I was following Lifestyle at the time. I thought you guys were putting out sick music, and I rated your podcast at the time, which you were doing.
Actually, this is going very full circle now. Actually,
yeah. Now look.
Yeah. So I guess that's actually a good point, because the first time you actually recognised me.
Yeah, because of the podcast.
With Alex, because of the podcast.
Yeah. My friend Alex from back home.
Because obviously, because we used to put it on SoundCloud, and like obviously we had the pictures on, and I want to say that you were actually the first ever person that like recognised me,
and he instantly fell in love at that point.
That was it. He's like, I've got a fan. I've got one fan. I'm gonna like, I don't know, like, not let go. But that's kind of funny that you did actually recognise me because of the podcast.
Yeah, that is a blurry night, but I do remember bumping into you.
Yeah, no, I remember that. And then I think after that, because I'd obviously seen sub-antics about, and it was like, oh, okay. And then I contacted you. We were like sending, I was like feeding your dub addiction.
Yes,
really,
yeah.
With a few exclusive overview lifestyle bits.
Ooh.
Oh God, it's always difficult. And then, Yeah, and then we did actually do like the first proper. I remember because I was on your case, and we did a first like legitimate upload
premiere. Yeah, AMP.
Big up to AMP. Big up to Kishan.
Shout out Kish.
Who? Yeah, because I saw what you were doing. Because to give a bit of context to some people, before I was with Lifestyle, I had also been in the kind of promotional game. I had always gone down the much more legitimate route other than you. I'd actually asked for permission to upload what I did, but I had a YouTube channel, so that was pre that. It was called Capital Drum and Bass for some people. Some people don't know that I actually ran that channel. I'm going to just plug myself. So I ran that for a number of years, and that was kind of quite successful. Then I joined Lifestyle, but obviously I'd had experience, and I knew the scene, and I knew that kind of thing, and I saw what you'd done and were like, hey, you know, something legitimate, you know, you should always, because I was like, you should do something much more proper with it rather
try
than
and
just
birth something out of it once got a following.
Well, because you had a following, and it was like, you know, to capitalize on it, I guess, in a much more official way, rather than just like pissing people off by ripping their tubs.
I think once I'd rubbed a few people who I was a big fan of at the time the wrong way, which is all squashed now and everyone's friends, but I think understandably, especially coming from the point of a label runner now who has to premiere release
now
schedules.
You're on the other side.
I do completely get it, but it was a complete just naivety at the time.
I think it was a wild west, and I would probably say, you were very young, and probably a lack of naivety on how the industry worked. And look, you know, many great things have been birthed out of that naivety. I mean, you know, UKF, Skank and Bass, they all kind of came from that similar world of just putting stuff out because they wanted people to hear it and they enjoyed it, not intending to start brands off the back of it.
No.
Like,
it's just a sort of hobby of like sharing good tunes.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. Like, I think like there's no like maliciousness to try and steal heat or whatever. And I think now, like, it's almost become a bit accepted in a way. Like,
I mean, there's the one big page. I think DMB Spread's still doing it.
DMB Spread, yes.
And I mean,
flying the flag.
To be fair, like, I'll come across an upload of like an overview tune that I haven't seen. It's been up for a month, and I'm just like, who cares? Like, like a lot of the time.
I mean, especially if it is just like a rip of like a minute and a half or something. Like, like, you know, I think what you're saying. Like, I used to maybe get a much more kind of. I used to be like, no, take it down.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, you know.
I think there's maybe certain tunes, and if they do it at the wrong time and it blows up a bit too much, maybe. But I don't know.
All publicity is good.
I
mean, not that I believe that, but but I think in that kind of way, like, it can get people. I mean, that's a whole another sort of ethical debate. But you know, I guess that was it. You know, obviously at the time, you know, you were doing that, and I could sort of see that you were doing something really cool that people really loved. And I was then on your case to sort of go a bit more legitimate. And I remember, because we then sort of like started talking more regularly.
I think all through 2018, because it was end of 2017 we met. And all through 2018 we were chatting a lot.
I think probably because I could, I don't know, being in the industry and could sort of relate quite a bit, and I felt like maybe just had just was like, oh, you know, you're cool, and all the rest of it.
And you constantly telling me that I should start a label,
yes.
And I'm just like, that'll never work.
Because obviously my brain, like, it's part of my role of what I do is to see ideas and can see these things, and I could see what you were doing, and I was very much, I was on your case to be like, you should start a label, start the Sub-Antics label. And you were like, maybe one day. Maybe that is your realistic, pessimistic
100%,
side of yourself. I mean, I'm kind of glad that you didn't, because we probably wouldn't be sat here today if you had started your label. You would have gone off and... Oh, mate, you think you could have actually just gone off and done it all yourself, and you could have been massive now.
I could have been huge.
I could have been huge.
I would have been all-stars.
Instead, maybe. Look, maybe. Instead, you have to be, credible overview.
Edgy.
But I think that was it. I think that's what sets it up quite nicely, was because obviously, you were doing that. I was kind of on your case. Then what happened to me happened, and I found myself labelless. And
labelless.
I was labelless in the wilderness, needing to kind of do something, and then that kind of like yeah, it sort of hit me to start a label.
Yeah, you didn't waste much time.
Definitely didn't. I mean, I've been, to be funny enough, I've actually been tracking back recently, looking at the timeline a bit, because I was kind of very interested to look at, you know, when stuff happened and how long it took to sort of get everything. It is quite mad how quick it turned around. But I remember clearly, you know, that happening, and then about 2 weeks later, it was like, right, gonna start this label. And I, for whatever reason, I mean, it's a little, you know, trying to remember exactly, but I remember thinking exactly at the time that you would be like a really good person to have involved.
That's why. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I could, you know, I think it was because, you know, I could see a lot of myself in what you were doing, and I really, you know, because I didn't want to do it on my own, I don't think, and I guess I kind of like headhunted you in a way, because I was very much like. You know, but you didn't quite take it to the idea straight away.
I was obviously like
the pessimistic side of you again.
I was flattered. Like, I don't know, this is a nice offer, but I think in my head I'm looking at all of these labels and I'm like, oh, that took them 15 years. That took blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh, I know Lifestyle had been going for quite a while at that point.
Yeah.
And in my head I'm like, oh, like, are we just going to have to put music out for a long time that I don't believe in? Because I believe at that time I had an ear for what quality was like. And when a label normally starts or has started that I'd been aware of at the time, you go through this stage of releasing, in my opinion, sometimes some subpar music until you can kind of get to a level where you're drawing in bigger artists.
Well, I suppose it's harder to get some of the bigger or more established, or
for sure,
you know,
like who's this guy, like who are these guys?
yeah, exactly.
But I don't know, we spoke about it and there was an idea for a first release.
Well, I think that was it, because I sort of looked back at the timeline and I could see that, like, I sort of had got a couple of bits in, and I feel like that kind of change, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that kind of changed your
I'd agree.
mind a bit, because it was like, you know, got a couple of tracks and it was like, oh, holy shit, these are actually really good.
Yeah, everything I'd heard that you'd sent over, that you'd already organised, it was like Harsh Cold, and I think you had the Lockjaw tune as well.
The Lockjaw, the Azo bit, Approach. So there was a good few tunes. And I also clearly remember it, because I remember, you know, we were still talking, and then you told me what your day job was, which was being a video animator.
Yes, I do motion graphics as a living.
So if anyone didn't know, that is what Ollie, also everything that is like visual in that respect. I mean, it's a bit spread out a bit more these days.
Yeah, sort of ease the workload.
Most of it is.
Yeah.
But I remember that, you telling me that, and then I basically was like, you don't have a choice now. Like, that was just like, it was just like, I mean, I'm a believer in, you know, I mean, circumstances, coincidence, whatever. Because I didn't even know that. I think that's the thing, is I did not know that was what
it was
did.
After you'd asked me. I can't even remember how it came up, but it ended up being that I did the animations for Overview Part 1. Because
I'm a graphic designer, and so obviously I could take care of that bit. And then when I found out that you were a video animator, it was just like, holy shit, this is just
meant to be.
This is meant to be. This is too perfect. Like you're saying, coincidences or whatever. Because like you're saying, I'd approached you before I even knew that, and then finding that out, it was just like, well, we have to do this. Like,
yeah, I think it was at a point where Instagram and sort of having graphics for each release was becoming more normal, wasn't it?
I feel like it wasn't so commonplace, I think,
that everyone was doing.
Do it, especially not labels of like our level at the time. You know, you had...
Well, it is quite an expensive thing to do if you outsource it.
It's very expensive. Properly. If you go to like a proper, like,
100%.
You know, animation studio, like you can pay a lot of money. I mean, for artwork and, and animation. I mean, that for a package, I mean, I suppose that's a thing. And that's what I think that was what was so perfect and what we were very lucky for, is that, yeah, like he's saying, it costs a lot of money to do that. Whereas if I can do the artwork, you can do the videos.
And the stuff at the time, I mean, maybe I'd look back on it now and cringe, but at the time it was of a quality where like we thought it was good, and people seemed to think it was good.
I still look back at that overview part 1 promo, and I am so proud of it. Like, it looks...
I'd need to go back and watch it.
It looks so
I do
good.
remember what
like,
it
no, like, it really... Like, I remember that opening graphic that we put out with...
The big
wings,
triangle and
the triangle. It was so ominous and ominous. It was so ominous and spacey, and like it was Marcus, the big up to Wingo. It was his track "Strained," which was just epic, and it was so intro. You know, the kind of teasers that we then got kind of known for, where you know you put up this. What is it kind of thing, give away a bit of the drop, like that was very much like, and again probably I don't remember too many people doing that in drum and bass at the time in that way, like you know, almost like taking a leaf out of like movie trailers kind of like vibe to just tease a lot. And I remember, and I said, still looking back at it today, like it was just such a strong way to do it, and the fact that you know we could just do it. And yeah, you know, I guess that's probably, you know, the big starting point. And then obviously you kind of
for sure
agreed. You're like, okay, P, you know, let's do it. And I mean, yeah, the rest is history, really.
Rest is history.
You know, we'd have to go over like absolutely everything of the last 5 years because there's a lot. But I think that's like the key to our...
Yeah, a bit of an intro of how it came to be.
Well, and the key to our working relationship, because I think that's what a lot of people know. They're obviously around us, and you know, hopefully we're getting this out to a few more people that maybe don't know fully, but it's the fact that we were able to start a label and do everything just between you and me.
Yeah, kept it completely in-house. Things that we definitely wouldn't have been able to afford at the time.
No, I mean, I had no money. I had literally no money at the time of starting Overview.
Yeah, so the whole label was built on in-house skills and connections with artists from previous relationships, and through the sub-antics page, and especially you at Lifestyle. And
I think that was always the quality, you know, the fact that, you know, because that was always something that I felt that I was strong at, which was finding good music, having a good ear for it, and that takes a skill. That is a skill, and you have been able to like match that, if not surpass it. You know.
Oh yeah, that's definitely
which has actually been another fun part of our. You know, not that I would say that it is like, I don't think we ever like sit there.
No, you're not.
Well, I've signed more.
No one's ever keeping track or tally, but you want to like if you sign something good, then I want to be trying to source like something as well, and it's a friendly sort of positive
I'd say so. Like you're saying, like you know, you want to keep up that kind of thing, because it is like, oh shit, you know, what have you got to bring to the table?
Yeah, and it's a mutual respect for each other, where you kind of almost want to like be like, oh, look at this, and then you both are like, this is sick.
Yeah,
like, you want to please the other person.
Yeah, and I think that's it. And like, you know, I think, and as proved, like it's kind of worked. I mean, I feel like I think it really has been like the kind of joining of two strong entities that's kind of proven that it can work. I mean, you know, we've certainly had our moments and stuff as well.
Everyone will have.
Like, but in general, I think it's been, we're still here.
Yeah, and exactly. It's still going strong.
And you know, I'm still, you know, I'm just very pleased that it did happen, and
nice,
and we're able to.
Forever grateful.
Well done, mate.
Well done.
Oh, you're just so amazing.
Oh, God.
So I guess that is like a little bit of a backstory. I mean, like I said, some people know all this. I don't want to like tread over the exact ins and outs, but that's certainly how we met and founded the relationship. And now, I mean, you know, it's almost still that today, really. Yeah. I mean, there's we've had a couple of people, you know, we've got some people to probably big up for the 5 years of Overview would be Matthew Museum, who, because I kind of did the first few original artworks, and then Matt came in and started helping out a lot more with the visual side of it.
Yeah, he really helped like shape our aesthetic at the time.
Yeah, I think I'd say I did the first 2 releases for definite. I still occasionally will still do some of the artwork now, but Yeah,
I think he came on for Wings first, wasn't
he
it?
did do the Wings Detractor,
Shattered
Perception.
Yeah.
And he did that artwork, and then he really has been, still today. I mean, we still did the Zone 3 release, so he's been someone we've been.
Bleep Test. I say not too long ago. That's already a year ago.
I mean, it's kind of not too long ago.
Right there.
Go buy a copy, please. Do go buy a copy. He did the 5 years of overview artwork as well. So big up to Matthew Museum. You've definitely someone very important as well. We've been working with Hydre as well quite a bit recently.
Yes, super talented.
There's been a few sort of like artists from that respect. I probably would say, I'm just doing a thank you now. I'm just reeling off thank yous. Louis Lockjaw as well. He did a lot of our early mastering. We had him as an early mastering engineer. We're now using Height and Hayden. So big up to them. But, so we've obviously, there's those sort of, the people that we use, but, still in general, and that's, I think, what is the quite incredible thing. I know I'm saying it, but it is. I mean, it is the fact that, we have created this label and it's still so much just us two.
Yeah.
And that can be, it's a lot of work. Like it is a lot of work.
Felt that recently, some long days and some evenings.
Yeah, I mean the last few months have been nuts.
Yeah, they've been crazy.
And and obviously that's the thing, is the project's growing. The workload is getting bigger. I mean I am full time now, so Overview is my full. We're getting you there.
Yeah,
we're getting you there. But yeah, as I said, essentially, it is still very much us two, at the helm, and I think that's been a really strong part of Overview, is that, there is just us two. We don't, we don't have to rely. We're not waiting on artwork if we don't need to. We're not waiting on animation if we don't need to. We have a lot. Yeah. It creates a lot of freedom. It creates a lot of freedom for the label for us to be able to flourish and be able to offer that for artists and not be waiting around all the time. And and I think that's a fun thing, it's creating, isn't it? We get to do what we want to do.
No, for sure. And I think if on the creative side, if you were now to bring another entity in, maybe for want of a better term, but it wouldn't be like Overview anymore in terms of having real creative input, maybe A&R on the music. I mean, you can get people to help as long as you get the final say, but it's very much been built on our ears and eyes. So I think that is the core of what Overview is the vision that we've sort of created with it, and the artists and their journeys.
Yeah,
with their sounds.
They're the key people. Yeah. I think that's actually another interesting point as well to make, because obviously we work. I mean, I can't sit here and thank absolutely every artist, but we are wholeheartedly. I am wholeheartedly thankful for all of the artists that have been involved with this label from the start. I mean, obviously, without them, we would not be anywhere. We're so lucky to work with.
No music, no label.
No, exactly. But I think the other interesting perspective of us is that we aren't producers. We aren't musically trained.
No,
we are just music lovers. We are
DJs.
Fans. You can just about. Oh, shut up. We're fans. We're fans, yes, and we very much come at it from that angle. And I think that has also been a very different factor for us, because I would say that you look at majority of the other labels around us, and most of them are helmed by a producer or a musician, which, don't get me wrong, like I think that is obviously a very, very great thing to have, and I think that's the thing, is like pros and cons with it.
Yeah, there's definitely perks to that, and I know a lot of artists will be attracted to a label based on the producer that's sort of running it, and
to get that help.
Yeah, to get the help, get insights, maybe gain a relationship with that person, or just learn stuff from them, which is completely understandable. But I think then we come at it from the complete other side, where it's like fans and taking it more at just value of the music and vibe that you sort of get from it. There's obviously quality control, which we like listen out for, and the more time's gone on, the more you really can hear the sort of details and maybe offer a bit more technical insight,
but not so much. I feel like our feedback is always a bit more, it's less specific in terms of like, right, this the EQ, the hertz of this snare are hitting, it needs to change, like this kind of thing. Is more like on a vibe perspective or more broad creative things, which I think can be a very good thing for producers to sometimes get that kind of feedback rather than it be too nitpicky and too specific. And fundamentally, we I think working with really talented people to give them the freedom, that's what I think we've always said right from the start of the label is to give them the freedom to express themselves as much as they want. And
that's the environment you want to create for a roster. And I mean, to give everyone credit, I think with our roster at a point is that everyone A&Rs themselves pretty much.
Well, the other artists A&R themselves, you mean? Or the artists themselves
A&R themselves. By the time an EP gets to us to the point where the artist is happy with it, it's going to be of a quality because that artist is experienced enough and good enough to we just thought,
well, I think
we like the tunes. It's like
I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think it's if the artist is happy with what they've done, that if the artist is happy and we're happy, that's usually a pretty good sign that you're on. And
that's usually how it goes. There's quite rarely sort of disagreements, I find.
I think it's I think there's one or two tunes or something might come through and just be like, no, I don't think this is quite for us. Or push an artist because we think that they could bring something stronger to the table if that was the case. But in general, we do, like you're saying, we do offer that creative freedom.
Yeah, it would more be like, let's give this project a bit more time because we feel like it's missing maybe a track to sort of gel it all together or like a lead or something, but not trying to sort of creatively
dictate.
Yes, exactly.
No, and I think if you sort of look at it. I think your mic's.
Does it come out?
Oh no.
Testing.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay.
Gotta be careful.
No, I thought I knocked that.
Nah, it's all good. As I said, like giving the artist that freedom, and I feel like the best work that we've ever usually got from Overview is when
I'd agree.
To pick the Bleep Test EP as one example. I mean, I think Coherent didn't even send us any of the tracks until it was done.
Oh yeah, it was like 90%. I think it was when it needed mastering.
Yeah. It was just like I mean that's a funny position. Not that we let every artist. I mean, look, different artists are different, and some want more involvement. Others don't need as much involvement, but. Again, we were fine with that and having that sort of trust, and I think building that, on trust and creating that safe and free environment is what helps the artist succeed, and I think that is what we have been good at.
Yeah, no, I'd agree.
You're just so amazing.
God's sake.
Oh, well, we're getting a little bit on the philosophical side of it. I think for the sake of this not being a 10-hour podcast and just going through the whole of the last 5 years, we will get tucked in to a few of the questions because I feel like this is also going to give a bit of an interesting insight into how we work and our sort of thoughts on how we work and Overview works. So the first question here is from C. I was supposed to write down who it is. I don't know whether or not that is Frank. I know that Frank...
This is a Discord alias.
Frank Poems, I asked for some questions, and Frank... Well, he's a music journalist. Big up to Frank. He works with Render Mag, and if you don't know Render Mag, definitely go and check them out. And he has given us a lot of questions. So the first one is, when you receive demos from unknown producers and they are good, does it matter how big they are? Would you release an upcoming artist with really good music, or would you have second thoughts because of how well known he is or she is?
Shall I start?
Yeah, please. Yeah. I'm asking.
I think at the core of it, no, it shouldn't matter.
I thought there's a but coming here. Is there a but coming here?
There is a but it's sort of context based from where we are. We have a very big roster. The schedule gets very full, and also you want to be able to offer the roster shows evenly. So I think now we're in the position where we have a roster. We can be a little more picky, but I wouldn't say that's based on followers. It's just being more picky with the music. Because if we got sent, I don't know, just an EP from some guy we'd never heard of, and it was some of the best music we'd heard, or we'd sign it. I don't think there'd be any sort of bias there based on how well known they are. So maybe it's more of a clear cut answer, just no. But you don't want to grow the roster so big to the point where you can't offer people shows or opportunities, the right attention they deserve. You don't want your artists waiting 18 months for a release just because the schedule's so big. But at the core of it, I'd say no. I think there might be a bias there subconsciously, where let's turn it on its head and say a big artist came through with music that wasn't that good, but you've been a fan of them for a long time. You've never worked with them. They're way bigger than the label, maybe. I think there is a sort of inclination to accept the music based on the name, but you do have to be careful and really try not to do that.
I feel like we've been pretty good with that, though.
Yeah,
we've had loads and loads of bigger artists, but I would try not to. I still would need to believe it, even if I didn't think that that track was their best track that they've ever made. If it was still a solid track, I would accept it. If it was a bad track, or I really didn't rate it,
that's what it needs to be avoided.
That's what. Yeah, I think I think you are selling yourself a bit short if you were that. And look, I would say, I'm in a similar sort of agreement there. That I don't think it matters. I think it does matter, how, when you're out there, say you're unknown, but you've still got a good thing going on within your circle, even if that circle is quite small, and you can see that they are quite good at, for want of a better word, marketing or engaging with their audience. And I know they're all sort of buzzwords and shit, fucking music industry shit. But if they do that quite well, even on a smaller scale, that can also be enticing, I think, for a label, because it's you could see where it could scale. Again, using shitty marketing speak. Careful. I've got to be legitimately underground here. And I think that can be important, because I feel like it can go hand in hand, where you can see someone, even if they don't, have the biggest following. But first and foremost, fundamentally, the most important thing is the music, really above and beyond anything. Obviously, it's great to have strong parts of everything, but I mean, look, I think a big example probably recently is Azo, is Exotics, really, because he was unknown.
Yeah, completely. Came up through our Discord, really. That's
little, Romania, kid, far end of Romania. I think he was 16 when he wrote Tusk. I think so. And I think he wasn't unknown in the same respect of, there were people within a small circle that he knew and knew him. So I think that kind of, counted for something, because there were people kind of bigging him up and maybe giving him a bit of help and whatever. But he was very unknown. He never released anywhere at that point.
No.
And it was a case of okay, this is fresh. I can see, considering his age, it was you could hear something way beyond his age.
Oh, for sure. I heard those shoes.
To where he was, and it was okay, and maybe there was a point of it was a bit let's take a punt here.
Yeah, and we like the kid. He's
amazing.
Yeah.
Azo is amazing.
I think that helps.
Yeah, again, it did. He fitted nicely in with the other people that we are, and he was a big fan of the label, and we said we took a punt, and that went to number one. Really, really well supported, really well received release, and that to us, and to me, goes to show that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether or not he didn't have X amount of followers or X amount of presence beforehand. The music was good enough, and I believed in him enough.
Yeah.
And that's our job, is to help amplify his voice and help amplify his music and give him a platform to show him. And now loads of people know who Azo is. You know, he's, you know, probably one of the real sort of like, you know, next gen, you know, up and comers coming through. You know, there's probably other artists, like, you know, Casper Ways. I mean,
if you want to go really far back to our first year, I think it was Yella at the time at Order, now a Ruben. Audier. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. So he was friends with Casper, or is friends with Casper, and forwarded these demos through from a guy called Ways. I remember being on the train and you were doing something and you couldn't check them and you forwarded them through, and I was sitting listening on the train. I just remember like being like, holy shit, these are really good.
I think my memory of that actually was that because I couldn't listen to it at the time, and then you came through and were like, yeah, sign it right now. And I remember just like, Casper probably knows this, but I actually just was like, right, let's sign it. I hadn't actually even listened to it at that point.
I appreciate the trust.
I had that trust in yourself, and I mean, fucking hell, like, look at what happened there, really. Like, and it was complete. I mean, it not had any drum and bass.
Was it like glitch hop or something? I want to say, yeah, I think so, something like that.
So he wasn't, again, I mean, was unknown.
I'd never heard the name.
No, and again, like, you know, took him on. I mean, Yano probably sits in that, you know, category. I mean, to be honest with you, I think, like, really there are, you know, quite a lot of producers that we have worked with, you know, and I think that's what we have, you know, certainly, I mean, whether or not we do it as much as we have done, but I feel that's one thing that we have got is really helping break.
Yeah, a lot of the roster is like grassroots core people that we've brought through and are now hanging around. But I guess, you always will be constantly doing that, but to be mindful of the roster becoming 45 artists, you can't be like constantly.
I guess that is where, like it has changed from, say, even 3 years ago.
Oh, I remember times where it was like we're like 3 months out from a release and we like don't have anything like in. And now it's like a scramble to get everything in for the next 6 months to a year. So I can't complain there, but there was definitely a lot more sourcing music at the start, which you can expect for any label.
And I think it's that thing of like the bar of entry has kind of got consistently higher as we've kind of gone in, and being mindful of, like you're saying, how big the roster is, how much opportunity we can offer.
Yeah.
So you know, it's got to be really good. It's got to be really special to be able to compete with music from the likes of Waves, from the likes of Jarfield, you know, and that's not an easy thing.
No, like at the moment it is probably the hardest it ever has been to get something signed on the label, but I guess that is quite normal as a label progresses, I would think. Yeah. I think it's got to be, and I think that's a testament to what we do and the ethos that we have. But still don't for anybody out there that, you know, because there's a lot of people, you know, that do say, you know, my ambition is to be on Overview, and it's far from closed off, you know, completely. And it might be a bit more open.
It might be a bit.
No, it's saying it's anymore.
Maybe we can have a little. That's a little teaser.
That's all it's said there.
So you know, things are always changing, and you know, it's still possible. You know, as Azo has proved. You know, we've got a couple of others. I think we're going to be blooding a few people this year as well. So you know, things are always evolving. You know, some artists move on. You know, we certainly work with people that we don't still work with today.
Yeah.
And, you know, so it's always evolving, but we're trying not to get too bloated, I guess. It's always the danger, I think.
Can be a fine line.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, I think that's question one. Question one is done.
Got through one.
Question two kind of relates to this. It says, writers' camps, are these only for artists on the label? If so, are there plans to do writers' camps for us upcoming folk to partake in? I
think at the moment, yes, they are just for artists, mainly due to the effort of logistics and the amount it costs to put them on, and everything that goes into. So especially the ones in Europe when you're flying people. But this is what I was kind of talking about previously, where you want to be able to offer the roster equal things and certain. Should I stop?
No, keep on talking. I think one of the mics is a nice fun with the mics today. I don't know what's going on.
I'll just start again. We'll edit out. Okay, returning
we're
from
back.
Technical difficulties.
But I have got to very much keep a track on what is, just making sure that everything is okay.
I mean, I'll repeat the question just in case your mic did lose that.
Yeah.
Writers' camps, are they only for artists on the label? If so, are there plans to do writers' camps for us up-and-coming folk to partake in?
Long story short, they're not for other people at the moment.
No. I mean, as I was saying, in the previous question, you have a big roster, you want to be able to offer this roster things, they're giving you music, and you want to be able to offer them shows and opportunities like writers' camps. So I think with the logistics of setting them up, the cost of setting them up, they are very much reserved for roster artists.
I feel like as well, like, although there could be like up and coming to a degree artists involved, they would need to be involved in overview, and they would at least kind of know some of the people on the roster and be okay. Because I think if you were to like, obviously have, so for example, Waze and Clinical in a writer's camp, and then just like a random producer that we picked off the internet who, it could be that would be a very strange dynamic.
I mean, it'd be a great opportunity to offer people coming into the label.
I mean, unless they want to pay us $4,000 to be at the writers' camp. I mean, to be fair with you, from that question, I did actually think it could be a good business idea to, if you could. I mean, people probably do.
You're going to monetize this.
Where my brain goes to straight away. I mean, you could, I mean, people could, partake in a writers' camp that you organised. But then it could be a bit bait, especially if you are doing it with, one of the bigger artists or whatever. Force people to do that kind of thing. I think the thing is, you don't want to force stuff. It's a fine line. Obviously, like the writers' camp is kind of forcing stuff to a degree, but
it's all friends and people that want to be there and are excited to work with each other. And then in there, it is a very family environment. It's a lot of fun. So it's bit of shithousery, but everyone's there for the same sort of reason and has like an eclectic. I mean, everyone likes the same music.
Yeah.
And everyone is of an overview sound, so it all sort of works and gels, and people know their marching orders.
So maybe one day, but certainly not at the moment. I'm very sorry to let you down. So going to some more questions here from Frank. These are going to be some questions from Frank now. Big up to Frank. What's one skill you need to have while running a label that you didn't foresee at the outset? Something unexpected.
Oh, I might have to have a little think on that.
Unexpected skill.
Unexpected. Because there's all the sort of normal ones which you can apply to any sort of job which will help, like organisation, etc., etc.
That's that is an interesting.
What's a skill you had to pick up on the way, maybe, that you didn't anticipate?
Maybe. I mean, I certainly. I mean, whether or not it's a skill, but I think that we didn't anticipate that it was going to be quite as successful, quite as quick as it was.
Yes.
I think, because we did it, I know you were sort of, mentioned earlier about the fact that, you were like, oh, it's going to take a while to get to a certain level. And, we had around me and like 4 or 5 releases.
Oh, yeah.
4 releases. I think it was our 4th release was Around Me, which is still to this day one of our biggest ever tracks.
Yeah.
And sort of from that, and we very much, got a buzz and got something going really quite quickly. And, even within 1 year, we were doing shows in London, had some international shows. So I think like that was unexpected. And I think from that, you had to kind of learn the skill of being able to sort of handle quite a high level running label quite quickly.
Yeah, I mean, like just on the admin side.
I mean, you've had to pick a lot of that up. That's one skill that you have done.
All the royalties and stuff has been sort of self-taught and using the services provided by a distributor. But like, and just managing the finances so you can get everyone paid, and a lot of like the admin of calculating royalties and putting them all into spreadsheets and stuff. I don't think I anticipated that, maybe a bit naively, but I'd never been involved at a label before.
I think neither of us did, really. I mean, I was running the royalties for a bit, and I definitely overpaid quite a lot of people because of the way that I was doing it. I mean, that is something, because the way that I was doing it, I could be better with my like numerical skills. I'm definitely not as bad as it is, but I feel you're certainly a lot better at it than me, and that's definitely a skill that you've really had to get your head around.
I've had to hone that, and then even just like understanding publishings and contracts, and a lot of the back end stuff, I'd say, because I'd sort of prepared myself.
The boring stuff.
The sort of fun signing music A&R side, I felt like came quite naturally, and I sort of expected that, but. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of admin and taxes and everything and stuff that goes into a business that of course you know that it's going to be there, but you kind of, I don't know. I was quite young. I didn't think about it too much, but that's been a big learning curve.
No, I think it has. And I think it's touching on that kind of, going from it being a hobby and being a bit of an amateur to actually being a professional and running a professional business and having to learn the skills that are involved. That, I mean, like you said, is that unexpected? It shouldn't be, but as I said, it happened quite rapidly, and we certainly have had to learn that, and it certainly wasn't as expected to be as quick as it was, and we've really had to learn learn as we go.
Yeah, and like time goes so quickly, and all of a sudden you're a year, 2 years in, you've got this amount of people on the roster, the label's making X amount of money, and everyone needs to be paid every 6 months, and kind of just it creeps up on you. But it's all sorted and in a good place with a good system. So
you're here
on that one.
Thankfully.
Yeah. I try.
No one will be getting paid otherwise. So thank you very much, Frank, for that question. Okay, another question here from Frank. How do you keep up with so many different artists and promos? Your inbox must be insanely stuffed. To that, I would say yes, it is insanely stuffed. I mean, I don't think when you're kind of in the middle of it, you sometimes don't realize how many messages you do receive. I would say it's one thing that I do prioritize as a skill, and I think we're both very good at, is being very responsive and being very on the communication.
Yeah, with the roster, especially with group chats and
the infamous group chats.
Basically, there is pretty much a group chat with us two and every artist on the label in separate group chats.
And a group chat for every event, and a group chat between management. And
Pete loves a group chat. The roster love to remind him.
I mean, we probably should. It would be quite funny to actually total up how many group chats we are in. It's probably got to be pushing. I mean, probably. God, would it be nearing 100?
Yeah,
I mean, probably wouldn't
with
be
all
surprised.
The extinct ones from old events.
Yeah. It might actually be like that. I mean, look, I think that's the thing. Is it is a lot to keep up with. I mean, how do you keep up with it? I think it's just being on the case and being, not ignoring it. I think is a big one. Yeah,
because if you do slip, and I don't know, I mean, everyone's going to have holiday and take weeks off, but you try and make people aware if you're going to do that. But if you let it build up, then it can just be this sort of like hole that you have to dig yourself out of, and it can kind of get I've done it before. I remember I had a rough time through COVID, and in lockdown, mental health suffered a bit back in 2020, and I remember letting my inbox get ridiculously big at one point. I think it was 2-3 weeks. I was just like, I kind of just cut myself out of like doing anything drum and bass related, and almost the anxiety of seeing like the messages build up had sort of made it worse, and made returning to it and like handling it and replying to everyone like even harder. So it's keeping on top of it, keeping the communication open with everyone, because but I think having two of us definitely helps there.
I think that's actually a big point, actually. The fact that yeah, because if one artist is trying to maybe get hold of someone and can't get hold of them, you can, yeah, then they can keep up with it. Obviously, the fact that we both check the emails, so if I miss something that you don't, you know, that we kind of like have each other as a safety net in that respect.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, like, you know, my real thing is just, yeah, really keeping up with it. You know, trying to, I mean, sometimes it can be detrimental because I think people can become, you know, very expectant, but I certainly feel a pressure. You know, if someone messages me, I try to get back to them, you know, almost straight away, because I certainly can find that if you go, you know, unless you make a note, you know, I'm trying to get a lot better with my organization to be like, reply to this person, message this person. I think organization is a big key there in terms of having a calendar, having a to-do list, and making sure you remember that stuff, because it's very easy to go, oh yeah, I'll get back to that, you know, a bit later, and then it just completely slip, and then a month has passed, and then you're just like, oh fuck, I was supposed to message so and so, and that's, you know, and that's how you can, you know, miss opportunities that way. I think, you know, things can move very, very quickly in the music industry when it comes to events.
You can get a demo, and then if you didn't reply and try and sign it if you liked it, like, or weeks passed and someone snapped it up.
Yeah, a month, 2 months, like yeah, no, definitely. And it's still, you know, we're still far from perfect, but I think it's certainly, you know, I think if you ask anybody that we work with, they will say, you know, yeah, they're really good with communication, and you will get, you know, get replies back quite quickly, and yeah, that's our philosophy. But it is a bit much sometimes. There is a lot of messages, but we ask for it. You can't really have it. Comes with the territory. Do you want to answer a quick? Do you want to read it out? Yeah. We can do a little back and forth if you want.
Okay, so I think this is from Frank as well.
It is from Frank. Big up, Frank.
Do you think all/most producers can benefit from a label? Are there any sorts of artists better off going solo/self-releasing? Does one have to sign to a label to make it at some point in their career, within drum and bass at least?
Yes, labels are the most important thing that has ever existed, and any artist would be very, very unwise to do anything else, mainly, especially if you release with Overview as well. So that's my answer for that one.
No, in all seriousness, I think, yeah, depending on the label, depends on the artist. I think if we're talking drum and bass, and especially the sort of stuff we release, if you are new and coming through, I think, yeah, having a label to use their resources, use their following, like take up on the opportunities of shows and things like writers' camps and mingling with their roster, making collabs, that sort of thing, super beneficial. And yeah, if you're someone who's maybe not particularly prevalent on social media, marketing's not your forte, the label can take a lot of that on themselves, as that is our job, and can push the artist, which I think is very beneficial. I think if you're saying, are there any sorts of artists that are better off going solo or self-releasing, I think that comes to when you're at a sort of higher level, like grown a lot.
Some and some.
I think it does depend. It's all context based.
I think it is changing because of how easy it is for people to self-release. I think it could depend on, yeah, like you're saying, the context of it, how, you know, your music.
As an artist as well, like anyone can, if you've got a somewhat good enough following, you can go release your stuff on Bandcamp, etc. Are you then going to be getting shows from a particular label? Like, probably not. Maybe getting booked at just sort of one-off nights, like being on a roster can help with that. And yet you would be missing out on some opportunities, but then, I don't know, your artists like a sort of Skeptical and the Halogenics, who, although I think you have to still work with a Critical Exit, have gone and done their own labels because they have such a following that...
I mean, it seems to be the playbook for, you know, a lot of artists now.
Yeah.
You know, especially within drum and bass. I mean, I don't know if it's the same in house and techno and other genres, but it definitely does seem to be, yeah, that real thing of, yeah, build up a career to a point, then self-release when you've got the kind of platform. And I think that's the thing, is like there's pros and cons to both ways. Obviously, you can have, depending on the label you work with, you can have a lot more freedom self-releasing, but then, like saying, if you don't have the resources, don't have the platform, it can be a real challenge.
I think a lot of artists don't.
Your mic's gone again.
Oh, has it? Mine?
Yeah, I think so.
Hello?
Yeah, you're back.
Oh God, how long was that gone?
No, I don't think it was too long.
These cables.
Yeah.
No, it's sorry, as I was saying, I think it depends if an artist wants to do that and put in the sort of, I know loads of people that really would not be asked with having to sort out their artwork and all the video animation, putting it through a distributor and taking on that responsibility. Some do, some don't.
I think if you are, a multidisciplined artist that is capable of doing multiple things, then if you only just then need a bit of help to do some things and you can do that yourself and feel comfortable with it, then why not? I think one of the big examples I think recently was Nia Archives, who was, from what is said, was struggling to get her music signed to labels, and then did just decide to go self-release it, and it blew up massively, and she was obviously good at marketing herself, she and having the kind of aesthetic and being really on it, and it worked out amazingly for her. Obviously now she's not still self-releasing, she is with a major, but the major have almost amplified what she's still doing in a way. Like, it still feels very similar to how she did start to do it. There's many different paths, and I don't think there's not a right and a wrong answer. I think it's case specific, and
very very context based in terms of it might apply differently to even the sounds of like the subgenres of drum and bass. Like, it would be different for someone in jump up maybe at the moment than it would in the more sort of minimal techie sort of side like we are, because it's all context based on the size of the scene, the size of the artist, the size of the labels around that want to work with that person or potentially could work with that person. I think it's all very dependent on quite a few factors.
Okay.
To somewhat answer that.
I
need to answer this question. I'll ask this question.
Why do you need to answer?
It's a simple one. Energy EP, when?
Oh, shit. Okay, that is that one. Not very soon is what I would say. Maybe one day, like, the idea of releasing music does intrigue me. I've always enjoyed sort of sitting in and helping with music and sample collecting and sounds, and like that stuff does interest me. I think it's just the fact that I do so much, and it's so involved. Like, as we said, it's only me and you doing this, that
there is only so many hours in the day.
There is,
especially with girlfriends and
having a life.
Yes. There's only so much time you can spend on a PC before it gets a bit unhealthy.
Yeah, and like, that's the thing, is like, different people have different roles within the industry, and I've always felt very suited to being the kind of, although I'm quite front facing, but being that kind of behind the scenes person that is, I'm an event promoter, making the events work, making the label work, and not taking that limelight. But like, I have made some music before, and like I said, I think at some point I will, but
it's never too late.
It's never too late. I just need to actually kind of like pull my finger out a little bit. I would like to work with, to be honest, I would like to work with someone that would be able to kind of like help take my vision. Ghostwrite. Yeah, I just want someone to just ghostwrite the Energy EP for me. So if anyone out there does want to ghostwrite me an EP,
I hear there's some great deals on Fiverr.
Yeah, £10 EP. Yeah, great. So yeah, maybe that answers that question anyway.
Brilliant. All right,
I'm gonna answer this one then. If Overview had a mascot, what would it look like?
Oh God. Oh, you might need to help me on this one.
I mean, my thought was like a giant eyeball. Maybe.
Oh, what? Because of the eye? Oh, that's freaky.
Because it's like overview and like viewing, you view with an eye. So I'm thinking
our
like...
mascot's meant to be like cute and fluffy walking
I don't
around.
have to be. No, they can be absolutely terrifying.
Should we get like a massive eyeball suit and you just kind of walk around in this big sphere?
And what you could have levers on the inside of it that you could pull and you could like shut the eyelid like over
horrifying.
the top of it. Oh, that would be so cool. That would be so cool. I think that would be my best answer. I don't know if I really relate overview to like
an animal.
Or something.
I can't think of. Yeah, an eye probably is the right one.
I think an eyeball, or maybe like planet Earth. Maybe you could have a big planet Earth suit because obviously you have like the overview effect. Maybe like
is that a bit self-indulgent?
Yeah, I feel like the eyeball. I think that would be that would really stand out as a mascot. To be honest. And if you could have a big eyeball like shut while people are like looking at it,
that
like,
is really horrifying thought.
Or you could like actually like move the eyeball like around, like I'm getting very detailed.
So much
here.
Thought into this.
We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen. I'm gonna spend all of our budget on making a giant eyeball mascot suit.
I reckon you could do it semi-cheaply somewhere. Maybe with the eye shutting, it might be getting a bit techie.
Might be, yeah. Yeah, maybe. And if anyone was to like dress up in a giant eyeball suit, it would be me. Yeah,
it would definitely be.
I mean, maybe the OV mascot at the moment. I mean, obviously, I have dressed up as quite a few different characters. I feel like Detective Dick Johnson is the
bloody hell.
Going back, if anyone does know anything about that, he's been like a reoccurring character for a while.
One of your alter egos.
One of my many alter egos that I have. Or Julie Andrews from Sound of Music. Well, I don't know. Maybe I am just the Overview mascot, really.
You probably are at this point.
I am the biggest mascot for Overview, so yeah.
I'm a bit camera shy, so this is a rare occurrence. I usually let him do it all. Okay. How do you educate and inform yourself so you can be a more effective label boss man, DJ extraordinaire?
I would say reading.
Yeah, you do read a lot.
Obviously, some people can see behind Ollie is there's like a big bookcase. I like to learn. I do like to learn a lot.
Yeah. I've
got a lot of very, very pointless facts and information that I could.
You do know a lot about some really random things.
You're
a bit of a pub quiz man.
I mean, I am and I'm not. I mean, pub quiz is actually quite difficult. I mean, I have quite I was always very fascinated by encyclopedias as a kid. And like for instance, I was up till 1 a.m. waiting for you. I was on Wikipedia reading about the world's largest sports stadiums last night. Like that's the kind of like rabbit hole that I will like go on. But I will apply that into the label as well, because I always feel like constantly being on the case of learning more information, and there's a lot of great books. I mean, I whether or not I kind of go down, like there's some more specific music books. I mean, Rick Rubin's Creative Act is a really great book I read recently that is a lot more on that. I'm reading through Richard Russell of XL Recordings book at the moment, which is really fascinating, and there's been some amazing information and really relate to a lot in that book. So I guess, for me, that would be a big one, I would say. I don't know. What about yourself?
I don't read as much as I should at the moment. I'm a big podcast listener, but that can be more just sort of like broad life sort of skills and self-help and that sort of thing, which does turn you into a more effective
human
label boss man DJ extraordinaire because it is turning you into a more effective human. So yeah, I'd say that. I'd say there's a few people who have like let me pick their heads a bit. Guys like Badger and Amy, for example, who will happily sit and talk labels and bump into them. Shout out to those guys. They've been helpful in instances when I've talked to them. So, and just general sort of experience. Yeah, going through the scene, talking to people.
Yeah, I think trying to be quite open as well. And sort of talking, with artists, always having that kind of, getting feedback and hearing what is sort of said, I think can help it sort of inform you to be a better label manager, because, getting feedback and getting that, you're saying, experience to learn more and learn what people like and what people don't like, and
open dialogue with your artists, everyone. Creating an atmosphere where they feel like they can have an open dialogue and call you out if they think you've done something wrong or they disagree with you.
I mean, that never really happens to you.
It's happened. It
happens a couple of times with me. A couple of times. But yeah, I think that's probably the best one. I mean, being a DJ, I think DJing is, it's like anything. It's practice a lot. Yeah. And that's how you can kind of get better at something, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just DJing specifically, just being on it with the music that's coming out, try and really get into that and following. I mean, there's so much nowadays and so much of it's all at a certain quality that it can be quite daunting. But yeah, just trying to be on it with what's around, having the sort of fresh music, but maybe don't necessarily get too obsessed with everything having to be unreleased, or which I definitely can be guilty of. And yeah. Bloody hell, you sort of get a reputation for it, and then you kind of try to stick to it. But yeah, there's such good music out there, especially from like in history and back catalogs. Like, just do your research, especially if you're getting into it now. Like, try and do your research for the discographies of labels and artist discographies, and yeah, I mean, there's just so much good music out there.
I feel like the second question here kind of leads into it a little bit. Big up Frank for these questions, by the way. You're giving us some good questions to keep this podcast going. Can you speak about the importance of mental health, lifestyle, plus personal growth in relation to music, career, creative pursuits?
God, yeah, I think we can both talk a lot about this. From my personal experience, I mean, I got quite into running, which I now can't do because my knee is a complete mess, for people that know me, or you probably have heard. But yeah, I think it was like halfway through 2020. It's sort of like my sister was back home, I was back home. She was really into sort of running and physical fitness at the time, and I never had been. I was super out of shape. Never had really gone to the gym or done any sort of exercise, and I think I just needed to get out the house. I worked all the way through lockdown because most of our clients for my animation work are food retailers who were not struggling for business. So we were fine, which I'm super grateful of, considering how many people were getting furloughed or laid off. Yeah, I think I just needed to get out the house, and I kind of got a bit addicted to the running and like exercise and just physical pursuits, I guess. And fucking hell, yeah, it changed my life so much. It helped me deal with anxiety I had at the time. It helped me get routine back in my life. Just having that sort of thing to focus on and progress in. And I think it's just made me a better person, like altogether. I think people that are around me would know that. It helped me get my life back on track in terms of maybe being quite irresponsible with a lot of drink and substances at the time. Yeah, no, and now I'm really into the gym. I've sort of tried to put on a bit of weight, like a bit of size the past couple years.
Bulky.
And yeah, just having sort of that to focus on, and this addiction of like progressing and it being a sort of like healthy way to focus that energy has been, really, really beneficial to me. Just having that structure throughout the day.
I could only echo that and say that it is so important. And I think especially being in the industry that we are in, and the creative industries and the music industry, especially being very challenging places to operate in terms of, for starters, there is a lot of substance and addiction issues. There's a lot of instability. Like, it's a very hard career to make consistent money in, and to sometimes support yourself. And it's not the most kind of, in terms of like when you're like having a career, shall we say, like it's not the most like parent friendly thing. It's like, when people sort of go, you want to be in music, it's like, oh right, well, that's a hobby. It's always the kind of thing. It's not actually a career, and it is, and it can be a very small percentage that that can make it. so you've obviously got to give yourself the best opportunity that you can to be able to succeed. And a big part of that is, being on top of your mental health and your lifestyle. And look, I've been massively guilty. I mean, for some people that know, and I've been quite sort of open about it, that I have been on being sober in terms of cutting out sort of alcohol and Class A drugs now for over 10 months, as it was something that was kind of affecting me and affecting my relationships, affecting my work, especially affecting my work. You were there and you can remember,
I mean,
remember that.
It's a stark difference. Like, just working with you, being around you, like, just to seeing like the motivation increase and just being sort of more on the ball. Not to say you weren't before, because we did what we did those years, but I think it's notice the difference and the improvement's been pretty impressive.
I mean, I think it's that thing of like, operating on 70% compared to operating on 100% and really reaching the full potential that you have, and having a good lifestyle and structure. I mean, it's been like night and day for me, in terms of how much better I've been feeling, and I'm really not even fussed, and I can still do it as well. Like, I still enjoy this music, I still enjoy going out, I still enjoy DJing, I still enjoy partying, but I don't feel the need to get fucked up, and I don't feel the need to, and it's helped me because I can then not.
That's a great place to be in. I'm sort of envious too. I've really reduced compared to maybe 2-3 years ago how much I drink, how much I get on it, for want of a better term. But I think I've got it under. I was never at a place, maybe in lockdown at one point, where it got a bit out of control, but I don't feel like it impacts me too bad. I've got a girlfriend now since moving to Bristol. I have a lot more structure.
Big up to Deanna.
I have a lot more structure in my life, so I feel like it is under control. I pick my battles of when I'm gonna have a heavy one, but I mean, you can easily slip back into it, and just having those heavy weekends, they wipe out so much of your week. And if you've got to be on it with a whole like our release schedule, it's not really sustainable.
I mean, I think it's that thing of like, you can do it, but and many people do. Like, that's the thing. This industry is quite rife with it, and there's a lot of people
super
that love.
Normalized.
It's super normalized. I mean, it's been scary, or scary, maybe not the right word, but interesting now, sort of stepping outside of that bubble, and now looking back in and sort of seeing how absurd it kind of is, and just
being in a load of messy green rooms when you're
really, and just like, okay, that's happening right now, and it's like and I'd be like, and I was there, and it was just like, fucking hell, I can't believe I did that. And like I said, like in that terms of like trying to reach your full potential, I've sort of, the difference I've felt is insane, to be honest. And I think it, like I said, I think it's so important, and I think I want to try and spread that message now.
I think it is becoming. I say it is like the whole drugs and drink is normalized, but I think the sober side and more self-help side is also becoming more normalized and spoken about. We know a lot of people that have gone sober in the industry and sing its praises.
Well, I think the whole kind of like mental health, is so much more of an open subject now than it ever was. And that is only a good thing, because I think it's so important to talk and realize this sort of stuff, and be honest about it, and be informed, and that help impact your decisions. Because I think that was my thing for a long time, was I was just not informed enough, or you kind of know about this stuff, but you don't really, you kind of just bury your head in the sand a little bit and just pretend everything's okay. And like I said, it can be, and you can work fine for a bit, but it will catch, I mean, well, most of the time it does catch up with you.
Yeah.
And it certainly caught up with me a number of times, and it was like, right, I've had enough. And I think, especially having this kind of opportunity with Overview, having it kind of be successful and having so many people rely on us was a very motivating factor to to really work on this and work on myself and personal growth, and to be in the best place possibly I can be in for other people. Obviously myself is the first and foremost thing, and that's has to be the main motivator, to be honest. But then it's, it is about thinking about others and not being selfish, because a lot of that behavior is selfish. And
you've got to want to do it. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen. So it has to come from you, but you can use maybe how it's affecting other people and your relationships. And as you say, when you've got a roster of people sort of relying on you being on the ball, not very much a motivating factor.
We are really, this is some real podcast. Two bros talking about self-motivation on a podcast.
Self-motivation, yeah.
There we go. But no, I think, we've been really, really on it, and I'm going to put it out there. I would highly recommend anybody to try give up drink and drugs for a bit, to put them at the back of your mind and see the difference that there can be. And that's speaking here today as someone that is on that path. Obviously, 10 months is a good... when I'm 10 years, then I'll be in an even better place to speak about it. But yeah, I think it's, it's a really positive thing. So if you are, interested in that, and again, just educating yourself, I go back to kind of, reading and learning, there's so much great material out there with the internet and the access to
been like the rise
of
the self-help podcasts as well.
Dr. Andrew Huberman, Lex Friedman, I love that kind of stuff.
Me too. Super.
There's some really amazing podcasts out there, and so many great books. I mean, I've got a lot of great books that educate yourself about trying to really be an optimal human being, which I think is the best thing. So
best version of yourself, and that will rub off on the people around you. Rub on the people around you.
Let's not go there, shall we? That's another good question. It said it's great. It's great that you help these musicians create a livelihood for themselves through Overview. How can producers leverage financial stability for themselves in the music industry? What's your role as a label head in this? Whoa. There we go. Getting into the thick of it.
Well, creating a livelihood. Are we talking so they can just sustain themselves on music? Be
a full-time artist.
Yeah. I mean, that does take time. I think some people do get lucky and shortcut it, and getting inducted into some of the bigger labels where it can offer lots of shows and things like that. That can be a sort of fast track. But in general, especially through Overview, it's going to take a bit of time, because there's only so many shows and royalties are only going to be so much every 6 months. But I think nowadays, with things like Patreon and lots of people offering one-to-ones, there's a lot more avenues than strictly just shows and royalties being the only things you're earning money through. But yeah, I think sort of accumulating all of those, like doing little self-releases on Bandcamp. But I think Patreon has been the big one since lockdown. That a lot of people are finding is really the tipping point to where they can pay all their
patrons and one-to-ones.
Yeah, one-to-ones.
I mean, there are, there's, I think it's also, being on the ball with what revenue streams are out there to be able to monetize. Saying we're, Patreon and that being a big one, being on the case with your publishing, trying to, maybe, speak to, sample pack companies, commissioning that sort of stuff, and pushing yourself out there and pushing yourself, I think that's the key is, and it's a lot, that is a lot. I think it's not easy. It's not a walk in the park. And I think it can be, it's kind of like, again, we talk about pros and cons, in terms of, especially at our kind of level, it's very hard to just be able to just make music and that's all you do and you get paid for it.
Which can be a tough realization for some artists, as I think traditionally that is kind of all you had to do, but things have changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, which can be tough to accept, but I think it's like you have a skill and such a valuable skill in being able to make music. It's like there's a lot of ways to monetize that, especially nowadays in the past few years. I mean, personally, our responsibility through that, I mean, we do all we can do. We promote the music as well as we can. We want the music to sell well. We try to, I mean, from our personal way, it would probably be the thing you're more doing, which is the events and trying to secure as many of those, get people their DJ fees. Like that is sort of the meat of the more frequent income, I think, as opposed to royalties.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of what we have to offer, I mean, the royalties, like, there are certainly artists on the label that do well from the royalty perspective. Some of the more sort of like prolific releasing, or if they've had some successful tracks. But yeah, from my real perspective, and that's always been a big part of Overview right from the start. Like right from the start was organizing a show. That was like the first thing. It was like, right, we're going to launch a label, we're going to have an event, and I've my first introduction into drum and bass was events, and for me it was always such a key part to the label, and we do that very successfully. I mean, I think I've totaled up, we've done something like 28 shows this year, and yeah, like we want to keep that up because we can then offer sets to artists and get more consistent fees. Obviously it becomes there is that challenge of keeping everybody happy and keeping it fair, and obviously having giving enough opportunities, and that has been maybe a little bit tougher this year. Obviously, as much as we've had a lot of shows, there's a lot of those shows were in New Zealand and Australia, just to kind of like put that as a little disclaimer, there.
I mean, the landscape's changed. I mean, it's no secret that it is tougher to put on events, and promoters are taking a lot less risks. It's harder to fill out events than it was like right post-COVID.
And the way the drum and bass scene has changed, and without opening up, that whole sort of debate, where some things have been a bit squeezed, and it can be harder, and the changing taste of drum and bass, whether or not, like, I think our sound is still successful, and there's still people that like it. Obviously, whether or not we have the biggest mass commercial appeal compared to some people, that's not what we're trying to do. So obviously with that, it can be a bit tougher, and again, getting as many shows in our world is not as easy. So there's all those sorts of factors, but it's doing that and trying to help and build someone's. I mean, even coming back to talking about creating a livelihood. It's as I said, this platform that we have to be able to, obviously we give shows and we sell the music. I mean, obviously selling the music is just such a big one. Although, yes, sometimes, obviously streams will do well and streams can make money, but obviously it's the kind of, even just like, I know it's the exposure, getting paid in exposure. I know that's like a bit of a meme, but obviously exposure can, not to say it always does, but it can, the more you're seen and the more you're heard, the more people know about your name, opportunities can disclaimer, can come from that. So obviously our role is to try and really help publicize and get the music seen and heard by as many people as possible, which then should in turn get artists more bookings or more opportunities to be able to have a career for themselves. And that, and coming back to like our goal and where we want to go and what we're trying to do, we're really trying to be ambitious with Overview and be ambitious with the label. So although, at the moment, I would say we've got, probably five or six artists, maybe more than that. I don't know. I need to there's a few on the top of my head that I know are full-time music. Obviously we're not the sole provider of that livelihood in the same way that a hospital record or someone in this world are able to give to their artists. But our goal and ambition is to, grow this to a point where we can offer that as a livelihood. So that's our responsibility, I guess, to be constantly pushing ourselves and trying to get better and trying to get bigger.
And I think if an artist sort of really wanted to make that leap, like a few of ours had, and we would then encourage them also to be trying to be active with the things like Patreon and the things like one-to-ones, and we would help them push that if they needed a bit of help with it, even though it's not directly through the label what they're doing. They're kind of doing it off on their own. But yeah, you want to support and help any of the roster.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have done. I mean, whether or not it's been feedback on things or doing animation, making some artwork, we want to be here to help people succeed. That's our whole role. That's our whole, the whole ethos and everything around what we're doing is that.
Yeah, you try. I mean, someone coming into the label, I'm probably not gonna. After one EP, I'm probably not going to be like, quit the day job. Like, I think there is some
realism.
Got to be a bit realistic.
It's the balance, isn't it?
Yes, ambition and realism.
Realism, because sometimes realism can hold you back. I think because. I
have goals. Definitely have goals.
Yeah, I mean, even from my own perspective, like, my biggest ambition for a long time had always been going full time and making my livelihood out of music. I said it for years, even before Overview. Like, that was my real, because I didn't have another career on the other side of it. Obviously, I was a graphic designer and doing bits and pieces, but other than that, I was like washing pots in kitchens, or I was dressing up as a cowboy to serve drinks to people. Like, that's I've had some shit jobs, as most people, a lot of people have, but I didn't have a proper career. I didn't have a backup, really. Like, I had to make it work, and I always believed that I could. I had a lot of help along the way. Like, there's not, I'm very fortunate, where I have come from to help with that. Not to say that I've been, dealt everything on a plate and have a silver spoon in my mouth, but certainly have had, help and support. But I had to make those sacrifices as well, and a bit crazy. I had a lot of people tell me, are you really sure? Are you really sure about this? Succeeding in the music industry is extremely hard, and I just had an unwavering belief that it would happen, and I would not give up, and I would make it happen under any means necessary. And literally, even the whole, the whole story behind how Overview even started is that sheer stubborn determination to not let anything stop and anything get in the way, and really have that belief. And I'm sitting here today doing music full time, and obviously now helping others. And my next, it's almost like, I achieved that goal, and my next, role and my next kind of, another target is to help others achieve that dream as well. And I believe it can be done. And I believe if you really fully jump into it, that it can. You're going to give yourself a better chance. You might as well, get rich or die trying. Do you know what I mean? Or get involved.
You say get rich when we're talking about drum and bass, though. I
mean, you can make okay money in some people, but yeah, I mean, look, it's get involved. Rather give it a shot. You've only got, again, getting on more of a self-motivational podcast speak, but you've only got one life. You want to give it your best shot. You don't want to live with regret, when you're so and so age. So if you really believe that you want to do it, really fucking try. Do you know what I mean? And you may well surprise yourself where you may end up.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, last question from Frank. From Frank.
Big up to Frank. Big up to all the US gang.
I think we've kind of covered this, but we can sort of briefly. Can you define your roles as co-label heads? What does Peter do? What does Ollie do? What are your individual areas of expertise? How do you balance each other out?
That is a good question.
He knows us well if he's asked the last bit.
I mean, yeah, we have sort of spoken a lot about that. I think, we have roles that cross over. I think so, from like the A&R.
Yeah, or the
music aspect. I said I take a lot more of at the moment, the events.
Yeah, I'd say I do more the royalties and back end of that, with the money on that side, getting that to the artists. And then, animation, more artwork sometimes. I mean, we outsource that a bit more now than we used to, definitely, just to free up some time.
There's a few, sort of work. Yeah, I mean, there's a few other sort of back end bits. I mean, I've recently started an agency arm of Overview. I think you've now taken over sort of some of the more like promotional aspects in terms of trying to promote some of the releases. Yeah,
like planning out promotion campaigns and sorting out premieres with your sort of drum and bass arenas and skank and basses and UKF and such.
So I think there's a good sort of like spread, where there is some more like defined, like, you take that.
Yeah.
Obviously, sometimes I'll pick up the slack. Sometimes you'll pick up the slack, or, on it together to be like, right, what's going on?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think I don't know, it's almost like maybe a bit of a natural thing. I think where we've been doing it for 5 years now, we've got our sort of
organised chaos between each other.
Basically.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot more organised these days. I think that's
100%.
been the big one that we've really been trying to push in the last year, especially, I would say, is to really get a lot more organised and a lot more on it. Like you're saying, giving each artist a release schedule and that kind of thing. And, and really mapping out our years and
getting assets together all in a bit more time, so it's not as rushed.
Yeah. And we get, and that's the thing, experience, we're getting a lot better. We know each other very well and know what our strengths are and what our weaknesses are, and do that. I mean, you say, how do you balance each other out? I mean, like you said, let's we sort of touched on. I think there can be a little bit of a good cop, bad cop dynamic at times. I can be a bit hot-headed, and like I said, like my real passion. I know that can always be a bit of a cop out to be like, I'm just passionate, but I'm so passionate, and I'm so like maybe a bit too defensive sometimes. Like Overview, just it means so much to me, and then sometimes that can spill over in the wrong way. And I can certainly my stubbornness and my determination. I sound like I'm trying to really like really cop out of like trying to explain myself. I'm not a complete cunt, I swear. I mean, I'm not. I try not to be.
No. And you're self-aware with the like things you've had to work on in terms of maybe communication and things like that, which is like, I don't know.
It's that thing, like I said, like that like stubborn determination. I do have a lot of self-belief, and obviously when you're then working and you meet other people that also are like that, and look, sometimes, even us, or working with people, you can't run businesses and try to really create great art and great anything without some conflict and disagreements, and I can be a bit more of that, I would say. I can be a bit more of the battering ram, and maybe be a bit more of the punching bag at the same time as well, from the other way, from other people, to give it, because I can be very, I'm very kind of there, and so I play that kind of role, and I think then that's what can be good about yourself, is that, and forgive me if I'm speaking for you rather than
crack on.
And you do kind of then offer that stability and sometimes a slight voice of reason. So especially if I've had an argument with someone, or someone's sort of pissed off, and Ollie can certainly be the person to kind of go in and help alleviate the situation from both sides, maybe.
Yeah, try and be a sort of voice of reason, see things from both people's perspectives. Because, if you've got two strong minds, it can often sort of clash, and you kind of need someone in the middle to be like, come on, guys, let's just meet in the middle here, or not let this explode.
No, and I think that's a real, a really strong quality that you have. And I think, like I said, like because of the nature of having to do these quite, high intense things, and like I said, the difficulty with conflict sometimes and not seeing eye to eye, to have you in there. Because I think I know what it's like, if you've got two people with the same personality, I think, but, I'll be honest, I think if I was probably doing it on my own without someone in there, I think, I probably would have burnt a lot more bridges,
I could agree.
By now, but potentially, like, I still think, I said, I own my mistakes, and, I try to, anything that kind of happens, I will, accept it and try to, I try not to hold grudges. I think that's one thing that, even if we've had our moments, I think it's always been like, right, okay, that's happened.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Don't let it then just affect everything.
Yeah. Don't hold on to things and build up over stupidness. Like, just crack on.
No, it's
talk about it, iron it out. Like.
No, and I think your personality and my personality kind of work well in that respect. It is almost like a bit of yin and yang perspective. Like, I think, which I think, saying balance each other out. Like, really, like,
no, I'd agree.
I mean, you're probably part therapist at the same time sometimes.
Yeah, I think
probably goes the other way.
It does go both ways, especially sometimes recently. I've been struggling with workloads and mental health a little bit, but I think any friend or business partner should sometimes have to be your therapist, I guess. Like, that's what you have a support system around you for.
I think it's interesting, actually, you sort of say on it about being a friend and being a business partner, and that being quite an interesting relationship to navigate sometimes.
Yeah.
Where, you sort of find yourself in situations that you otherwise wouldn't usually as friends, and the other way around. And I think again, but I think it's a really good thing. Like, I really like the fact that, I work with someone that I do consider a really good friend, and that you can sort of talk on that level and talk about more than just business. Do you know what I mean?
The label does get so intense sometimes that I'll be like, fucking hell, it's probably been like 2 weeks and we haven't even spoken about our personal lives, and I'll try and like catch up and just be like, oh yeah, how is everything? And definitely guilty of that, just because things do get intense. But no, you need to remember foundationally like how your relationship started. Yeah, I think that covers that.
Oh, that's so cute. So basically, Ollie is amazing and I'm a dick. That's the main crux of the conversation. I'm trying to get a lot better though. Like, I am. Maybe let's not carry on. I'm trying. Okay, I'm trying. I'm right most of the time. So we've done the more like serious questions, mainly from Frank. There were a couple of questions asked from some other people. I think we just popped
it in the Discord, didn't we? And Frank came in with the heat.
Yeah, Frank. Big up to Frank Poems. As I said, do go and check out Render Mag. He is one of the writers for that. We did a really good overview interview. Well, I say we. I did it. And so there's a really quite an in-depth piece. One of the most in-depth pieces on overview that we had. And they're just to be honest, one of the few sort of real print media magazines out there at the moment in the drum and bass scene, electronic scene. It's even more than that. It's Dan Agenta as well, to give up a big up to him. And really, really great publications, and they definitely do deserve your support. So do go and check them out. Give it a little big up there. There you go. Well done, Frank. There you go. Look, you got your.
Giving us loads of questions to talk about ourselves and self-indulge with.
Well, I tell you what. I mean, we asked our group chat. I mean, there are a few questions here actually, because I did put a little bit of a call out on the internet in general. So maybe I'll give a couple of those from the public before we go into the group chat questions, which are going to be
dreading.
That is where we're really going to get tripped up here. So the first question here is from Lewis Sheldon. He said, where do you want the label to be in 5 years from now?
Oh,
whoa, that's a good question. Where do you want it to be? I know where I think I know where I want it to be. I want to have a boat, like a yacht, the overview yacht.
The overview yacht.
Maybe an airlines. I was thinking Overview Airways. I'm thinking like, you know, realistically, yeah, private jets.
I think the same, but just bigger and better.
Same, but different.
Yeah, well, same ethos, same sound to a degree. Sounds obviously evolve and change. Hopefully the same roster, same people with some additions. But just, yeah, the ability to do bigger events, the ability to do more things like writers' camps and offer better writers' camps and bigger things like that. I'm just trying to think.
I think a big target, I mean, where do I see us? I mean, if we carry on the trajectory that we're on, I'm confident in where we can be. As I think you sort of look at some of the other labels that are, you know, they're at 15, 20 years, and, you know, we've managed to get to this in 5 years. And bearing in mind, we're not backed by, you know, neither of us are releasing artists with huge platform. I mean, you've got a pretty okay platform with sub-antics. I think sub-antics has helped, to be honest. I think it has really helped.
It definitely at the start.
I think still even now, like, you know, I think it does. There are a lot of people, I think you probably underplay, or I'm not sure. Maybe you do underplay it a bit. I mean, you've got more followers on SoundCloud than most of the fucking artists on the roster, to be honest.
Yeah,
so
it's
SoundCloud
in 2023, though. I think
fucking SoundCloud is my favorite fucking platform.
Oh, I love SoundCloud.
Big up SoundCloud. I tell you what, I also want to say, I want to meet SoundCloud. We still haven't met SoundCloud. I want to meet SoundCloud. Yeah, I want to go to SoundCloud offices.
Representation.
No, I want to go to the SoundCloud. I want to go to the SoundCloud offices. I want to say hello, because we have been big proponents of SoundCloud.
I do love SoundCloud.
I think SoundCloud, I mean, don't get me wrong, Spotify is great, and like no part to Spotify, but there is just something still so organic about SoundCloud. It's still a real throwback. I mean, it hasn't changed dramatically in the amount of time, and it's still the place where we put our music first, you know. So hopefully, I want to say within the next 5 years, I want to be meeting with SoundCloud just to say hello.
So that's the aim.
That's the aim
for 10 years' time.
No,
we can be the exact same label as long as we've met someone from SoundCloud. Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think a big ambition next for us. You know, we're starting to do bigger shows. You know, I was say, you know, we've got a really good thing going on in Bristol now. I think, you know, doing some bigger shows in London again would be really good.
Yeah.
I would like to hope that, you know, by 10 years, we will be a lot more consistent on the festival circuit, to be honest.
That's a big one.
I think that's one of our biggest next aims, to be honest. You know, and I'd like to think within that time, yeah, we should be, or would like to be, sort of a bit of a main stage, maybe not main stage, but a fixture at X, Y, and Z festival. I don't have to start naming names. I mean, to be fair with you, I probably can't say it, but we're going to be at Outlook Festival this year, which I'm just going to say, because it is happening.
It is happening.
To be fair, this may actually come out before anything's being said about it, so this may actually be the first time anyone's hearing it. But yes, and to be honest with you, that is huge for us.
Massive.
Like, you know, and big up to Simon at Outlook for reaching out. And yeah, we definitely overtook there was a post they put up, and I did do that cheesy thing of nagging everyone that I knew to go and comment overview, but it worked, and we actually did get approached by Outlook. And yeah, we're going to be doing a stage takeover with Flex Out and Star Wars there this year. And to be honest with you, like, that's, again, like, you know, talk about those ambitions and talk about those things that you would have as, like, I mean, you know, without, you don't want it to be like a box ticking exercise, but I mean, what label out there wouldn't want to be represented at Outlook Festival? You know, it's one of the most prestigious electronic music festivals, you know, underground music festivals in the world. and to be obviously asked, and invited over there is testament to what Overview has done. And maybe if you'd have asked, I probably would have thought it would have happened at some point. I do have that belief a little bit, but it still, feels amazing to get that.
Yeah, no, I'd agree completely. I think festivals is our big one. We've definitely spoke about it.
I'd like to do our own festival as well. I know,
this is the big one.
This has been, obviously I don't want to I got to not tempt fate too much. And it's one thing talking about it, but I would like to, by 10 years, who knows? But if organising an Overview festival would be amazing. That would be sick.
That would be fucking cool.
Maybe just that kind of thing. Whether or not do you think we could get a top 10 or a UK top 40 track?
Never say never.
Never say never.
I mean, well, with what the few tracks like now Chasing Status have been doing at the moment,
drum and bass has been hitting getting the top 40. We probably would have to do something very different potentially.
I'd never want to be my pessimistic realist self.
So we're gonna have a top 10 selling track in the UK charts.
Yeah, sick.
We're gonna own a boat. We're going to be organising multiple festivals around the world, and I'm going to run for Mayor of Brighton as well, I think. So that's maybe where we're going to be in 10 years.
Imagine you doing your acceptance speech outside the Volks.
Yeah. Big up to the Volks. Maybe that, maybe that is some... Yeah, some of that. Another serious question that we had from the public was, I want to say, is Ozk? OZK. I don't actually know totally. I'm going to say, how do you reckon you pronounce that? OZK.
I literally have no idea.
Ozk, or is it OZK? I don't know. OZK.
We'll go with OZK.
How does it feel looking back on your first ever show?
Overview show, I assume.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go with first ever Overview show.
So the Volks one.
Yes.
Yeah. When was
How
that?
does it feel?
December
2018. It was the 29th of December. That awkward date between Christmas and New Year.
Which is how you build it, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think I did do a jokes Facebook page about going to Volks.
That popped up recently for some reason.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah. I saw the event page. It was called that.
Yeah, going between that awkward date between Christmas and New Year when you haven't got anything to do, but fuck it, I'll go to the Volks.
Yeah, I remember that show being really, really fun, really good.
Oh, we had a great lineup. Yeah, we had Shine and Crook headlining, also known as Fade Black.
Gran Calavera.
Tony, Gran Calavera was there, did Fin Absolute, the first ever track on Overview. Big up to the Aussie gang. We had Grey Code back-to-back Wings.
Oh, yeah.
Clinical as well.
Yeah.
We had it done. That was a seriously good lineup. And it was busy as well. We actually did pretty well from what I can remember. I mean, looking back, I think it was really important moment. I think that first show, because obviously a lot of shit had gone down, and obviously we've been starting this journey, and it was it was a big milestone, I think, to do that first event and to make it feel a lot more real and bring everyone together that was really that we could at least at the time for that first
make
label.
A bit of a statement.
Wings was there as well. No, Wings Wings obviously back to back. And say Dan and Marcus being there on the first release, at the first event, and are still here today, two of the most important artists on the label.
Shout out the boys.
And I think that was a really important moment to bring it all together and haven't looked back.
No, yeah, and as I was saying, I think having a statement of doing an event that early on, sort of here's the label, here's the first event, instead of maybe waiting a while some labels might do.
Well, I think if I remember that that all kind of launched all at the same time.
Yeah, because you kind of want to set it up as an events brand right from the get-go as well, so people can expect that. Plus, it's just a good way to push this new label and brand that you've sort of created.
Celebrate it. Celebrate the launch.
Yeah, launch party.
No, and it was as I said, it was a good event, and the Volks. You know, big up to the Volks, big up to Jerome, Will as well at the time, you know, who were there that, you know, did give us an opportunity, did give us a break, and have been like so supportive since then. Like the Volks has been massive for us. You know, we're now doing 4 shows a year there, you know, and it's, and, you know, and just to have that kind of consistency of a venue to be able to give shows to our artists and have a bit of a home, like it is really kind of like our home, like ground now.
Such a key space for the label and its history.
I mean, it's such a key space for, you know, for especially for the South Coast scene, but for the drum and bass scene, you know, it's been there for years. Like Volks is like one of the longest running clubs in the country, especially for dance music. And yeah, so, you know, it's a real honor. I mean, you know, it's kind of mad, you know, Volks is one of the reasons that I'm, you know, here today, to be honest, because I sort of discovered drum and bass in a real way at that club and followed nights there for years. I mean, I even met my partner at the Volks as well, technically, again.
It does get memed a bit hard, bless the Volks, doesn't it?
I mean, it is a memey venue, definitely.
Yeah. But I remember there was a period of time where I didn't quite get it. And then, like, after going a certain amount of times, especially when I lived in Bedford, because it's a direct train down on the Thameslink to Brighton, and you were down here, obviously. So I'd come down quite a lot, and I think it took maybe a year or so, but I was like, I actually fucking love this place.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it can, like, I think it can be an intense place, and I think especially because it goes on till 7 a.m.
Yeah, it's a shift.
Like, it is a shift. I mean, I'm just fucking, I can do it with my hands tied behind my back now. It's just like, okay, all right, like 7 a.m. at the Volks, like that's just how we do, you know, usually playing the last set of the night. And, you know, it kind of does make you a bit battle hardened, I think, you know, because now I travel around and I'm like, what, your event shuts at 4? Like, what's going on? We've still got another 3 hours worth of raving to do here.
Yeah. I mean, I came up through Fabric, was my first sort of club experience.
So,
that was 7 as well.
Yeah. So there are still a few venues that do it out there, but they're not so commonplace. And yeah, like you said, like it's just been a great location to be running shows at. So obviously, give it a plug. Come to the 5 years of overview show that we have at the Volks, which is going to be on the 2nd of December. We have Kyrist, Ways Clinical Wings, Azotics for his UK debut, Sub-Antics, back-to-back energy, maybe. I don't know what we're doing. We probably are. We're going to do a special 5 years of overview set. Dot Dash as well. Big up to Andre. We've got Dot Dash and Azo, who are really good friends, and they're both Romanian. I think
that is a Dot Dash debut, isn't it?
I think he's playing in Bristol once before.
Oh.
I know. But we do have the Azo's debut. All the way, flying him in all the way from Romania for his debut, and we've also got the holy trinity of Ways, Clinical, and Wings, which has never happened before at the Volks. To be honest, that is a first.
No. And big up to my lovely girlfriend Deanna, runs Dynamics, and yeah, she's putting on room 2 with all the mentees from the Overview and Dynamics mentorship.
Yeah, no, that's actually really cool. I mean, to actually touch on that briefly, I know that's segueing a little bit, but again, for people that don't know, we do run a mentorship now. We've run it for 2 years. This last year has been run with Dynamics, with Deanna, who has been amazing. She has been so good. And yeah, we've just giving an opportunity to female identifying producers coming up in the drum and bass scene. And yeah, basically doing like production lessons, mental health workshops, music theory.
So important, I think, to tackling that sort of wider issue is sort of at the grassroots level, like sharing that sort of information and inspiring the next generation of female producers, I think, is the sort of core way to tackle that, or I believe anyway. Yeah,
taking a nod from EQ50 and a number of people that have sort of done Hospital have done a similar thing as well. But yeah, we wanted to, we believe in this sort of thing, and it was like, what can we do to help with systemic change? and it has been amazing. I mean, one of our first year of mentees, one of our first mentees is Ivy, who obviously owes everything to Overview now. I do remind her of that. I do remind you of that, Ivy, right? You owe everything. No, she doesn't at all. She is like an amazing talent, and she's more well known than Overview is now. Let's be honest. Like she's huge. So again, amazing that she, came through that. And it's been a really positive thing, and now doing it with Dynamics. So yeah, it's doing this, it's tying in nicely for 5 years. We've been doing it every year as well, where, we book all of the ladies from the mentorship onto a gig. So we're kind of like an end of year celebration, because it's a 1 year lesson. We also have a system as well, Ari, who's actually managed to fly all the way over from Australia for this gig.
She is a trooper.
Which is an amazing effort. She actually did like some crowdfunding and stuff in Australia to make it happen. We're obviously giving, paying towards some of the flight as well. And yeah, so it's going to be a really special night. I'm really looking forward to that. So obviously, if you've never been to Volks before and you want to come celebrate 5 years as well, I mean, again, we're milking the whole 5 years of Overview thing. That is...
it's got to be done.
That is happening. So yeah, that is a very long-winded way of going about that.
Toilet break.
Should we take a toilet break? Yeah. We'll take a toilet break. All right, we're gonna go for a toilet break. Ollie's going to be back in a bit. I actually need to go as well, so yeah, let's do that. Hello everybody, we are back. I'm also back. I also noticed that my camera had stopped working for the last hour, so fantastic. This is it. Ollie, we've just had some nice HD camera work with Ollie, and I have just had the potato webcam, but it's fine. I'm back. Hello, I'm back in HD, everybody, for that. But yeah, so we're gonna now go into... Well, actually, yeah, we're going to go into like the slightly less serious questions, and I think we will try to somewhat get through these a bit quicker. We're going to do a bit more quick fire, fun way to end this. And this is the group chat. Big up to the group chat. Big up to everybody in there. You know who you are.
Absolute lawless
of a wild group chat that we have going. And yes, so the first one here is from Operate. And his question is, top 10 artists in order of scrapping outside Tesco's ability.
Have you seen Pascal recently?
Ground is pretty stacked.
He's put on 15 kg. I dropped him a message when he put that story up. I was like, how many calories have you been eating? He was like 3.5k for like a year.
Wow.
I was like, I mean, I've been trying to put on some size, but that is dedication.
So if this is this top 10 artists on the label,
or is this just scrapping?
Or is this anybody? Is this anybody in drum and bass? So we're gonna go ground. I don't know is there anybody that is actually like a trained
martial artist,
trained fighter.
Label, I don't think.
I feel like there was someone that told me they were a black belt, but
oh god, I don't know.
I can't remember.
Not of our core lot, I don't think.
I mean, you say top 10. The problem is like, I mean, maybe in jump up there's a few more people that could be a bit more like scrap ready, I would say.
That is a generalization.
I mean, that is a bit of a generalization, but it's a bit more like, it's a bit more street and a bit more ghetto kind of like, music. Ours are all just kind of like nerdy producers who sit in their bedrooms way too much.
I know Ant, TC1, very Muay Thai trained.
Okay, so there we go. Ant, TC1.
Would not want to entertain that.
Possibly one of the hardest men in drum and bass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say so.
So, I mean, he would probably have Pascal. He would probably have most people.
I think he would. I mean, I don't really know if is there anyone who really like trains or fights.
I mean, I'll tell you what, on the label, if I wouldn't want to have a scrap with someone, I probably would say Yano, just because like he's quite a big dude. Like, and I feel like he probably packs a punch.
He's innocent chipmunk.
Yeah, but they're always the most dangerous.
Yeah. Unassuming.
But I feel if Yano did like sort of like discover his like slightly more like aggressive side, that he would
You'd
be.
have to really.
He'd be the kind of guy that just didn't know his own strength. Like he'd kind of just like grab you and like just crush your skull with his hand.
There you go.
That's maybe mine. I think if there was anybody on overview, Pascal, yeah, he's big. He's got a bit more muscle. He's probably quite strong.
I reckon like Hayden and Harvey would be like,
but both of them,
unassuming.
I get because both of them are quite into their MMA, right?
Yeah, they love it.
So I reckon they both reckon themselves to be quite like, oh yeah, no, I could, do this and that. Like,
they might disagree, but I reckon I reckon they'd be surprising.
I tell you what, that would actually be a really good scrap. I think Hayden going toe to toe with Harvey would be a good scrap. To be fair, I would pay good money to see that.
We'll just have a big overview scrap. We'll live stream it. Last
do
man standing.
Royal Rumble, like Royal Rumble style fight. No, don't fight. Fighting is actually really bad. Brain damage is quite a serious thing. Bleeding of the brain and all the rest of it. I'm not
Yeah, I'd always wanted.
Just gone there. We were doing so well. Oh no, is it back? My mic's back. I don't know what's going on. There we go. Yeah, don't fight. Fighting is bad. Contact. Stick to table tennis. Just stick to table tennis. It is much better for you.
True. Okay. From Galaxy or Mr. John Galaxy, 3 tunes you wish you could have released from any time period within drum and bass. I think this is a hard one.
3 tunes I wish I could have released. I mean, if it was to be like stuff that I think could fit on overview, maybe, I don't know. Like, what tune would you really, really wish that you could have signed?
You don't want to keep it too current, but I don't know, if you go too far back, then it probably doesn't fit with the aesthetic.
I mean, what has streamed amazing amounts and made absolute wedge?
Oh, Badadan?
Yeah, I wish you could have released Badadan. That would have been good. We could have made some money off of that.
I mean, just from like a personal, what influenced me, there's like skeptical tunes from like 2010 to like 2014 sort of periods, and then like dispatch stuff from Brethren and DLR and Kirsty from a little bit beyond that period, 2015, 16, 17. I mean, there's lots of tunes around sort of that time.
Definitely not given not given a top 3 there.
No, that's a hard question.
Yeah, I can't even think about enough tunes in my brain that I wish I could have signed. Maybe. Yeah.
Hard question.
We're going to give a terrible answer for that.
Yeah.
I mean, basically Badadan, Liquor and Cigarettes, and Tour.
Oh, Tour would have been good.
I mean, Tour would have paid for a lot. That would have been a good tune. That would have been a good tune.
Just coming down to streams of money now.
Yeah, well, if you really want to be up about it. Okay, yeah, I got them. That's that done. Oh no, whatever Galaxy tune, whatever the Galaxy.
Whatever tune, Galaxy tune streamed most.
And to be fair, the recent Halogenics and Galaxy tune, that was a good tune.
That is a beautiful tune.
I would have liked to have released that one.
Okay, probably a worse question. Top 3 most embarrassing moments from Jake offline. Thank you, Jake.
What do you think of my top 3 embarrassing moments? Because you might actually be better at answering that question.
I'll speak for my one first. It's got to be that Bristol show.
I think Bristol and Hereford is probably quite close.
Which, just to sum up, was just getting obliterately drunk.
And trying to plug his USB in while operate, was it?
Because it was 3 decks for the last set, wasn't it? Or some plan to go back to back, and I don't remember anything.
No, I think there was a plan to go back to back at the end, but you were trying to go back to back before the end.
I couldn't get it in my head that it wasn't the end of the night,
and I think you were told a good 3 times to stop plugging your USB.
Oh mate, I was gone. I was on another planet. Yeah, that was quite embarrassing.
Yeah, it was an amazing night. It was an amazing night.
From
what you can remember of it.
Yeah, no, that was a poor performance from me. I mean, that literal single incident kind of made me take a big step back away from like heavy amounts of spirits, I'd say.
I mean, Hereford as well. That was also spirit induced.
Yeah, that was before lockdown. That was, I mean, yeah, not to drop him in, but that was John as well.
So to anyone that doesn't know, I mean, both you, John, and yourself ended up getting ejected from the nightclub.
Yes, yeah, we did,
because they were too drunk.
Well, yeah, I mean, they kind of handed us these bottles of gin, which were the rider, and then they poured them into pitchers for us.
Because you weren't allowed the bottle.
Which then we were trying to, like, I forget, we were trying to mix it so it was all pre-mixed, and we ended up just having to have these ridiculously strong drinks for like 3 or 4 drinks. I can't remember exactly. This is like 2019, but yeah, it ended really badly.
I mean, John actually ended up getting in a scrap with one of the bouncers, I'm pretty sure, as well.
I don't know. That might have been me. I can't remember.
No, it was John, because I think he woke up with like a pain on his chest where they'd like...
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Sorry, John.
That doesn't happen so much anymore, to be honest. That was a while ago now. But yeah, spirits are usually the cause of...
Yeah, drinking spirits, pouring your own like drinks with set spirits. Yeah,
is there a third on there you can think of?
A third? Well, for me, no. I think we should just do it in general.
General?
No,
Top
like
3.
for both of us.
What would be my most embarrassing moment? What? I'm trying to think.
I mean, there's a very, very recent one. I don't know.
I mean, that was embarrassing. I did get the date wrong for this 5 years of overview show. That was quite embarrassing.
That was a lost in translation thing. I don't think you should put too much to the blame for that one.
No. I mean, probably number one, the most embarrassing moment was probably losing the Best Newcomer Drum and Bass Award.
Oh, for God's sake.
That was really embarrassing. There we go. That's my most embarrassing moment. The whole thing surrounded that was quite embarrassing as well. So, and that still does live with me this day. To be fair with you, so I'm gonna go up with that. Was definitely one of my most embarrassing moments for a multitude of reasons.
We'll leave it there to not get into too much behind the scenes. Oh, these are just terrible. Okay, Alex Particle, worst overview song in your opinion? We can't answer that.
Around me.
Dan is shit.
By Clinical. The worst overview song. You can't do that. I'm going
to say it's an unreleased remix from Particle.
Yeah.
Of a talker tune. Really, really shit.
That was really shit.
Yeah,
that
so bad really that we couldn't release it. So thanks for that question, Alex.
Yeah. You can't really give an actual... I can't really do that to someone. That's very harsh.
Do the next one.
From Vizsla, biggest tune fumble.
Biggest tune fumble? What, that we missed out on
We missed out on a tune or a release. I think he's trying to get at something.
Is this all safe to say? This is a spicy question.
The one with Vizsla was pretty bad.
Yes,
to be fair.
Yeah,
not pretty bad. I mean,
certain demos from him came our way and things happened.
I was having a bit of a moment, and yeah, I should have signed some tracks from Vizsla. They went on to be his first critical release, and the rest is history. So
no, he's done very well over there. I'm happy for Jake.
Big up to Jake. I don't know if is there any other like tune fumbles, like where we actually like wanted to sign something and then it went.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say it because of management, and I know how that will go. So I'm gonna leave that one out.
I don't even know which one you're talking about.
Next question. Okay, this is a nicer one. Thank you, Dom. So from Operate, top 3 moments for the label from both your perspectives.
Top 3 moments.
E1 for me.
E1 was definitely up there.
That was huge.
I think New Zealand and Australia.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, definitely
has to be. And for me personally, South Africa as well.
Yeah, that would have been huge. I mean,
really good.
I love Overview Part 2. I love Overview Part 1. That is huge and super nostalgic and what we all built off. But Part 2 and 3, and especially 3, like I've gone back to that release recently and looked back on it.
What, 2 and 3? Or
yeah. Maybe 3 specifically with like tunes like Framed and like
Upload, Flex.
Yeah. Like, even the Alibi tune. Like I kind of went back to that recently, and it was like, damn, got me all nostalgia-y and tingly.
Yeah, it's nice to get that nostalgia. I mean, I would on that. I would say overview part 1 and the first event and just launching the label in general, I think was a real big moment. That really stands out. Just as something very, very special. It still means a lot to me. I sort of look back at that, listen to those tunes, and the kind of feeling. It's a very mixed feeling, just in terms of like the sort of pain that was happening at the time. Is there another one? Is there another top moment for you would sort of put up there?
I think I've covered sort of my big ones. I think E1, like playing to that crowd, doing something with Critical. I think I'd posted this on Insta at the time when we did it, that the last time I'd been to E1 was the end of 2018, right when we'd started the label, and it was Critical in room 1 and 985 in room 2. And then to go back, literally the next time going back to E1, and it be Critical in room 1 and us in room 2, and it being sold out, and just how well that night went and how good it was. Yeah, I hold that in quite high regard.
Yeah,
I look back on it fondly.
I think you're right, and I feel I know we almost had more people in our room.
At one point,
and I remember I think
the layout helped us a bit.
I think the layout helped us, and obviously like the DJs were shelling it, and I think like it was a bit like, why is everyone in here sort of thing. I remember Badger kind of coming in and was like, what's going on here then, like which was quite funny. That was special. I think that Bristol show that we actually did at Coroner's, I mean that time, those we had those 2 shows kind of back to back.
Post-COVID rush as well.
They were like, there was literally like one weekend after another, and they were that show was nuts as well in Bristol. Just that was a lot rawer, and it was so packed. And again, like getting the people, everyone that we had together, like I think it was Casper, Dan, Marcus, Kiana, Dom, Harvey, like Hayden, Brethren came,
Degs and
Dusky on there as well. Like that was a real moment. I think one of my favourite moments, actually touching on that as well, like a top 3 moment, and for Dom as well, was the music video. I know you didn't come along to that. The music video we shot for Diamonds. Dom was. I'm saying this as a top moment. Dom wasn't there as well because I think he was ill and couldn't make it. But that was actually. I'm sorry, Dom. I am sorry. Putting that as a top moment. Yeah. I mean, the New Zealand. I think the New Zealand. I mean, obviously that also had its difficulty.
Yeah.
It wasn't the smoothest tour.
No.
For one big reason.
Yeah, there were some travel complications.
There were some travel complications that were my fault. But I think to do that and to go out that far,
and how good the shows were.
Yeah, I mean New Zealand was just nuts, like and getting so much great feedback, and to be just so far away and to get that response. And the Kiwis are just lovely people, and the Aussies as well, like just really, really lovely people. And to kind of like have it take you that far, would definitely stand out for me. I think, I mean, other moments as well. Like, I think there's been some big tracks that have come out. I think.
I wouldn't want to isolate certain tracks and make people feel left out, but
maybe that's a very good way of putting it. I'm going to start having like, who's my favourite ones right here. That's a few there. Also from Operate, which artists have you had the most arguments with?
Me. Well, I live with Dan, so I'll say Dan. It's usually about fucking washing up or something like that. So that's my cop-out answer.
I mean, that's a very good answer, and that's also a very good reason. That's a better reason, like, having those tensions. I mean, me, I would say that it's up there between John and Marcus. I would probably say, me, oh god, I don't actually know who would take that. I mean, between John and Marcus, we've always been very civil afterwards, and it's always tended to work itself out.
Strong minds.
Yeah, we're gonna put it out there. So yeah, definitely tied between Dom. Not Dom. No, Dom's fine. Actually, Dom is amazing.
Yeah,
John.
I wonder if they thought we'd actually answer all of these questions.
Yeah, come on, we can do it.
Another one from John Galaxy. Ask yourself why you'll never be as good as the Amen Brother podcast. I'll ask this one to you as it is your podcast.
Because they have a bigger platform than me. They're just bigger artists. Like, oh, look, I'm Galaxy. Oh, look, I'm Polar and Bryson. Like, I'm Vision Obi. Like, I can't compete with that. That's the only reason, like, it's a better podcast. If Ollie actually lived in Bristol and was able to do more podcasts with me... In Brighton, sorry. Yep, there we go. If you lived in Brighton, we would definitely do a better podcast. I am a better podcast host than any of those three combined, to be honest with you. Like, I am. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I've been doing this for a long time now. I'm very professional. I mean, John's got some good banter. I think Jack and Rich are a bit dry sometimes, but
forever making friends,
always making friends. No. To be fair, all the love to the Amen Brother podcast. Yeah, I do like that podcast. And to be fair with you, it is a better podcast than what I've been doing. To be honest, the music podcast we do is good. I'm just going to keep on trying to dig myself out of this hole right now. Go and listen to the Amen Brother podcast.
Yeah, big up those boys. I think these next two we've sort of answered. Where do you want the label in 5 years from now? That was the kind of 10-year thing we talked about.
Yeah, that is.
And what were your original expectations for Overview as 5 years compared to where it is now? I think we've kind of...
Yeah, I mean, I think the big one on that...
exceeded, yeah.
It's just that, we had no idea what to expect. And it's definitely exceeded all expectations.
Yeah. All right, here we go from John.
Galaxy again.
No, John Rizzo.
Oh no, love you, John.
Shag, marry, and kill.
Oh, shag, marry, and kill. Here we go.
Dan, Marcus, Casper.
I reckon definitely shag Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because he's like, he's a bit of a pretty boy. I reckon he wouldn't be.
He'll be elated to hear that.
I reckon. This was a very bad question. I can't. Because I think like Dan, he's a bit mysterious. He's not the type to want to be in a relationship with. So I don't think marry. I think marry Casper because I just feel like he would be a strong. He's a wholesome dude. He'd be a good person to like marry.
Yeah.
And kill Marcus.
Okay.
You?
I'll do the next one. Shag, marry, kill Dom, John, and Yella. I'm going to kill John for making us answer the previous question.
Oh, that's good.
Probably marry Yella.
I mean, he is a hunk. He's almost a perfect human being, to be honest.
Yeah, lovely individual. Sort of a bit older, a bit like mature, got his life together a bit more. So I could use him as a sort of support system. And then I guess, we're Shag and Dom.
I think that's fair. Oh, God.
Yeah, these are horrific.
Fuck's sake.
You want to do the next ones? You sure this is a good idea?
I don't think this is a good idea. This is from Yella, and he really wants to trip us up. If you could make 3 other D&B labels disappear, which ones would it be?
Lifestyle.
Lifestyle. You want to make Lifestyle disappear? I mean, it's pretty easy. It would be Critical, 1985, and who is it? Shogun Audio.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like
John Galaxy,
because of John Galaxy is on there, and obviously, like they're way bigger than us and have a lot more followers and way more reach. And if we could get rid of them, we'd be number one. We would be number one.
Debatable.
And Blackout, obviously. I want to get rid of Blackout.
If you could make 3 artists disappear, who would it be and why? Thanks, Badger.
It would be John Galaxy, Jack, Polar, and Vision Obi, just so that I could then have the greatest podcast in drum and bass.
That's fair.
You?
So excited to ask me this. I'll try cop out as well. We'll go DJ Khaled, because he seems semi-talentless and likes putting himself in all the videos, which
another one
I don't really rate. And another one. Chris Brown.
Yeah, beats women.
Yeah, did do that. Who else got cancelled? Help me out here.
Mr. Traumatic. It's going to one a bit closer to home.
Yeah. I could probably justify that without pissing too many people off.
I think we probably just pissed a number of people off there.
Oh,
I don't know who else. I don't know who would I make disappear in the drum and bass scene?
Next question.
John Galaxy. Love you, John.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can make John disappear. Which is better, Pete with long hair or Pete with short hair? Short hair Pete.
You don't even need to think about that for a split second.
I think the more we asked him to cut his hair, the more stubborn you got that you didn't want to cut it.
I mean, it was like, it was such a big part of my personality. It was like my look. It was like my image. But yeah, but I did have it for so long. And I think the turning point, I think, was when you compared me to the butler from Scary Movie 2. Take my strong hand.
I'm so sorry. The banter on that tour was a little
there was the banter of that, and like looking at it, like I could see the comparison. And do you know what? I watched Scary Movie 2 last night.
Oh yeah,
and I watched it and I was going, "Fuck!" Like my head did actually look like that, didn't I? And like the beard as well. It was just a bit wild.
It did get a bit crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. If I sort of did it well and slicked it back, it could pull it off. But I just would also not care for it.
Yeah,
and it would just get a bit wild. I mean, it was actually Avril, Hayden's missus. She was like, "You look so much better without your strange hair."
Oh, what did she say?
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, no, you know what? Like I do, and I feel a lot more. I feel maturer.
Yeah,
and I feel a bit more composed, a bit less wild. Like I think it's helped.
Boy band Pete is back.
Boy band Pete, especially with the cleanly shaven Pete. I've taken about 10 years off just by having.
You do look a lot younger.
Easy.
From Azo, if you could have any artist on the label from any point in time on this earth, he says, who would it be? On this earth. I like how you had to specify that.
Any artist on this earth. I don't know any artists that aren't on this earth.
No. I mean, Adele, that would probably make us a lot of money having her on tracks.
Yeah, sign Adele. What can make the most amount of money? We go Adele, Beatles.
God, I don't know. There's so many people with big discographies, like peak Spectra Soul and early Skeptical.
I feel like Aphex Twin would be super cool.
That's quite a left field one. I'd quite rate that.
Like I think that especially some of his drum and bass that drum and bass quotation marks that he kind of made. That would be an amazing signing. Or if you could get a remix from Aphex Twin,
I could back that. Skrillex.
Yeah, I mean Skrillex. I mean, like, do you know what? Skrillex on Overview. I mean, we can say on like any point on earth. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Doors, so Jim Morrison on a track would be pretty cool.
Oh God, we're going that far back.
If you're gonna go like any point in time, like any point in time.
Big Nirvana fan.
Get a bit of Kurt Cobain on the label. That could work. I mean, I don't know. Like is there any other like electronic artist that you really?
God, I don't know.
What about? I mean, if you could release from any artist in drum and bass, who would you really, really want to put a release out with?
Any artist in drum and bass? Yeah,
currently like releasing or had released or.
It's got to be like Alex or Skeppy.
Yeah. Skeptical would be good.
Just as a foundation thing for the sound, but yeah, wouldn't happen.
Not unless we paid them loads of money. Probably not even then.
No.
One can dream. One can have dreams.
Bristol or Brighton? From Harry.
Big up, Harry. Big up to the Hazza. I mean, I know, we're probably going to give... I know it's quite obvious what answers. For drum and bass, Bristol, hands down, any day of the week. For the city itself, I do personally think that Brighton is better.
I could probably at least say where you're coming from and partly agree, because I almost moved here. It was between the two.
You made a mistake.
Oh no. And like Brighton is somewhere I could see myself living at some point, but
I just feel like I don't know, like Brighton, you've got the seaside.
Yeah, I think that is a big part.
It's huge. I mean, no, not even that. You've got the seaside and you've got the countryside.
We do have the harbour
and a city.
Harbour's nice. Come on.
The Bristol Harbour is nice,
especially in summer.
It's no Brighton Beach.
It's no Brighton Beach.
And like, you've got Seven Sisters like just down the road. super convenient to Gatwick Airport, to London. Like, it's quite far away from some places.
Like Bristol.
But like, it's a really pretty city as well. You've got like the lanes and like, what is there in? Oh, you got Turbo Island, I guess. In Bristol.
Come on, that is a rite of passage, right?
But like, do you know what I mean? Like, what? Like, I mean, you got like the bridge, the suspension bridge, and that is nice. And obviously, like Cheddar Gorge is pretty close, which is really nice. And you got some nice, Wiltshire and some of the countryside is all right. You're not too far from Wales, I guess.
You've got like St Paul's and Easton and. No.
But for drum and bass, it's not even really a competition.
No.
Really. But here we go. I'm going to go on my nuance answer. As good as Bristol is for the fact that so many people live there, I think that can also be a curse, or it can also be a difficult thing to navigate.
That city can make or break people.
Yeah. I mean, look, I know certainly a lot of people that go to Bristol that find that it's actually, it's really tough existence to kind of, it's kind of like, it's that thing of like, you go to Hollywood to go make it in film. So you go to Bristol to try and make it in the music industry. And, there's a lot, it's, unbelievable the amount of competition that there is there.
Yeah, it's super saturated. Lots of temptation with just going out and getting on the piss.
Well, that's, that was going to lead me to my next point. Half of you lot all fucking just spend your time down the pub rather than actually like doing creative stuff. Some of the time. I mean, look, don't be wrong. I'm sure, that's very broad some thing.
And some.
But that's the thing. You've got so many clubs, and yes, you've got a lot of people passing through and you can see some amazingly talented people that I'm sure is very inspiring. But yeah, I mean, obviously in Bristol's changing quite a lot in price. Like it's going up.
Yeah, I mean, so's here, isn't it?
Yeah, no, Brighton, Brighton has historically been expensive.
No, Bristol's really expensive. It's really hard to find a place as well. The competition in terms of renting, like it took us 6 months to even lock somewhere in. And I know people who've had to move back home when their lease ended on the place they were renting because they couldn't find somewhere else in time. Like it is ridiculously competitive.
Like, and to be fair, like that competition is here, but yeah, I don't know. We didn't struggle too much. I don't know I don't know how difficult it is for people to find.
I mean, we were a group of sharers, which I think
that's challenging.
Get tougher.
But no, so yeah, that's my answer. The city of Brighton itself, but Bristol. But I know you probably disagree.
I could agree. I'd say they're sort of even.
You just don't want to get everyone from Bristol now messaging you like.
No, I mean I live there. I love the place. I do.
I do.
Especially with everyone.
I mean,
there. I think the people there do help a lot.
I mean, I spend my time more in Bristol more than anywhere else. I think I totaled up that I've been there pretty much 12 times in the last year or something.
And you always have a good time.
And I always have a good. No, I do always have a good time. Yeah.
Okay. Best overview backstage story.
Best overview backstage story. I think I want to say that first Clock Factory backstage. Not that it was like not a good story, but I remember it just being like packed all night, and there just being such a good.
There was a good vibe in there. I think who was it? Was it James and like Kit Circumference? Just like. And Alex Particle just fucking with people the whole night, like sticking things to them, just being absolute terrorists.
I think one of my favourite backstage stories, and I'm sorry to do this to you, Marcus, but it was definitely Marcus.
Oh, that is a gold one.
Falling asleep in the green room at E1
for a long time.
Like it was like John Galaxy was like fucking taking pictures of him and videos and shit. And I know it's cruel because like I mean Marcus is a fucking machine. Like, and sometimes I don't know how he does it, but he had like travelled down he played a gig in Manchester the night before, and he'd not slept, and he'd got a coach down, and then literally then went to the gig,
played the best set of the night,
and then fell asleep
in the green room.
And that's a pretty iconic.
That is iconic.
That's a pretty iconic moment.
That's got to be the best one. I
gotta see that. What do you reckon the nicest backstage is that you've been to?
Nicest?
The one in Switzerland was pretty nice. Do you remember the one that had like the
like bougie, like
yeah.
No, that's probably that Switzerland one, like kitted out upstairs, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, that was a really good one. Brixton Academy had a pretty good one. I remember they were just relentless with the booze. They were just like
that first Clock Factory one was the same.
Yeah. To be fair, like the booze goes is like in again.
Yeah, in and out.
So yeah. Sorry, Marcus, but that one's getting aired.
So Ben, favorite cheese.
My favorite cheese.
Yeah.
I've been really into Gouda at the moment.
Gouda's good.
I do like a bit of Gouda.
I feel like every time you stay around mine, I notice that there's Gouda in my fridge that you buy from the Tesco opposite. There's been a couple of times where I come down and you've left and there's sliced Gouda and chorizo in my fridge and I'm like, oh, thanks.
Oh, nice. I'll have a bit of that.
Gouda's good. I'm a big like brie fan.
Oh, do like a bit of brie.
Yeah, on a nice cracker.
Or a bit of camembert, a bit of...
I love that. Yeah.
I do like a bit of cheddar. I did. Obviously, we went to Cheddar Gorge recently, the home of cheddar,
where they mine the cheese.
Where they mine the cheese itself, down in the cheese mines. And I got some proper cheddar from Cheddar. It tasted just cheddar. Oh no! But I do like a bit of cheddar. You can't go wrong. I mean, do like a bit of Parmesan. Do like a bit of Italian hard cheese.
True. Yeah, it's all context based. What food you're having it with. I'm a big Red Leicester fan.
I do. I am obsessed. I think cheesy pasta is actually like my favorite dish.
Yeah, like mac and cheese. Like I'm never gonna say no.
Mac and cheese, bit of carbonara.
Yeah.
Oh, making me hungry now.
Last question.
Oh,
from Charlie Scantia.
Oh God,
Scantia.
A nice serious one to end the podcast on.
Crabs or lobsters?
I mean, I think it's got to be lobsters. I think.
They are more imposing and they taste better.
As you know,
crabs have more like meme, like history. I feel like.
I mean, crabs. I think
crabs. Also, crabs are kind of associated with like an STI, which isn't great. It isn't great for crabs.
I mean, yeah, and I feel like crabs are cuter though.
Crabs are cuter.
Like a little crab, like you see them and they've just got these little eyes. Whereas like lobsters are like really quite mean looking,
dinosaur crustacean thing.
I mean, they are. I mean, I think I went to Bristol Aquarium. It was after one of the overview shows, and we went there with Hayden, and I remember seeing they got like some of the deep sea lobsters,
big boys,
and they are big, and they are, like you're saying, like prehistoric, like from just a different time.
Yeah.
So I think lobsters are cooler, crabs are sweeter.
Yeah,
lobsters probably taste better.
Lobsters do taste better, but they are really expensive.
I'd say, yeah. So that's maybe my...
No. I'd say that's a fair...
That was actually from the Scantia podcast. He actually asked... I was like, do you have a question to ask me and Ollie? And he just asked crabs or lobsters. So really, really serious.
Yeah, very Charlie to come off the cuff with that. But yeah, thanks for all the questions, guys. I wonder how many of those will make it into the final cut.
They're all going to make it in.
Oh, God.
Hopefully we don't get too many angry messages.
At least it's at the end of the podcast. So most people will have got bored to the point where they don't finish it.
Like, I'm not sitting through 3 hours of Pete and Ollie talking about fucking shit. So yeah, that is basically our first podcast done.
Yeah.
How was it? I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So I mean, it's new territory for me, a bit out of the comfort zone. Got to think off the cuff a bit, especially with some of those questions, which I probably should have read a bit more on the train here, but
no, it's far more
bit more fun off the cuff.
It's far more organic that way.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, look, we'll wrap it up there. As I said, thank you to anyone that has given us any questions. Obviously, thank you to everybody for your support of Overview over the last 5 years. I mean, there are so many people to thank.
They know who they are.
Yeah, whether or not we need to go into just
roll credits, a big list.
Yeah, roll credits to the side of me of everybody that we're going to thank. From the artists to the promoters to industry people, and especially the fans and the supporters of this label. We are just a bit overwhelmed at times, and so grateful for the love that we have for this label. And I believe in what we're doing.
100%. Yeah, seeing a fan base grow, it exceeding like the wildest expectations, especially for the time frame. Has just been like such a joy, and as you say, a bit overwhelming and a bit surreal, I'd say. But yeah, no, I just can't thank everyone enough. Like, huge big ups to the artists. I think fundamentally they are the foundation, as well as us sort of putting it all together. But yeah, love those guys. Love all the gang.
Yeah, everybody. You know, we're so blessed and so fortunate. Hashtag blessed. So blessed to do this, and you know, look, here's to the next 5 years and longer. You know, we're not planning on going anywhere. You'll be able to see plenty more coming from us. We've got a lot of ambition with this label, as I think people can see through what we've done. You know, we're enjoying it. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've been, you know, enjoying this more than ever in the last last year. I think especially.
No, this year's been really great. It's been a perfect sort of fifth year. I think the music's been really, like, I just really believed in every release we've done.
I mean, I've almost believed, you know, I think that's the thing. We've believed in almost every release that we've done, you know, from the start, and we're going to continue that. And you know, as well, you know, I know it's not the be all and end all, but we were, you know, nominated again for Best Label.
There we go.
At the Drum and Bass Arena Awards. So go vote for Overview right now.
No, it is sick to see, even though, yeah.
I mean, it's a public vote, and I know, like, you know, the Drum and Bass Awards, you know, aren't, you know, there are so many people out there and so many artists out there that deserve that credit and that recognition. And, you know, it can be a controversial thing, but, you know, for us to now been up there for, you know, 2 years in a row, getting in that top 10 nomination place, you know, I wasn't sure. You know, obviously we got there last year, which was a surprise. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, we believe in what we're doing.
It's just when you look at the company you're in with those nominations, it is quite humbling. Oh,
really humbling. I think that's the right word. And I think, yeah, you know, we don't have, hundreds of thousands of followers on Facebook or Instagram. On Facebook, I'm showing my age there. On TikTok, you know, but we, you know, it goes to show the real belief in and the support that we have for the people that do love what we do. And yeah, again, like, you know, the fans, you know, are so important to this, and the fact that we've kind of got up there for a second year running, you know, is humbling. And yeah, you know, we're just gonna, you know, keep on with this, with what we're doing, and yeah, I'm intrigued to see where we'll, you know, be having, you know, if we have this podcast again.
Yeah, 10 years.
You know, 10 years.
Sky's the limit.
I mean, I'm probably going to get you on a podcast before. I'm going to make you do another podcast. It's not going to be another 5 years before you do another podcast.
No, I'll be.
I mean, unless we could always make it
an annual thing.
Yeah, maybe like an annual thing. We'd just have like an annual catch up, and
let's do it.
I think that could be a nice
I've really
thing
enjoyed
to
myself. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being
suggesting
you.
this the other week.
Well done. You're just so amazing. So yeah, thank you to everyone out there that has watched or listened to us ramble on for this last bit. Big up as ever.
Yeah, love. Cheers, guys.
Keep on giving us some love, and yeah, we'll be back next year.
In a bit.
Bye.
Fuck it out.